Hey, this is episode 151 of the Collector's Quest podcast. It's October. We're talking about horror games. I think we picked some pretty good games to talk about this episode. Some pretty obscure and collectible ones. We're talking about PC games you probably haven't heard of. We're talking about modern reprints you should watch out for. All that kind of stuff. So tell your mom about the show, give us 5 stars in iTunes, and let's go. Welcome back to another episode of Collector's Quest. I'm Tyler, here with Johnny and Stefan. Hey, what? No, I don't say hey. What happened there? Like that, I threw off my whole rhythm.
I don't know.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Collector's Quest. I'm Tyler, here with Johnny and Stefan. What is going on, guys?
Yo.
I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to tell you that we can't be friends anymore because you stole $100 from me.
Oh, we're just gonna
like
put
I
out
said,
there
this
that I'm
is
a
the
thief.
thing he wants to die on, huh? All right.
You stole
Yes.
Johnny and I's favorite games. Are we just going straight into this?
Well, I mean, we might as well. We never talk about what the topic is for 5-10 minutes, so let's get into how Stefan is a complete trash.
Yeah. How about that? Let's get this out of the way. That way we'll have something to talk about during what are you buying, what are you playing, and Stefan won't just like wreck us immediately.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I acquired another copy of the Nintendo World Championships.
Oh, did you now? Another
and,
copy of an
I did.
NWC.
I did. And on Video Game Sage, there is a user who is paying people for photos of undiscovered NWC cartridges. And Tyler, like I share like because I've been working on this for a little bit, so I shared this picture with Tyler and Johnny of this cart that no one had seen before as an previously untracked NWC, and Tyler gives it to the dude and like tries to get his $100. So to me, I feel like
I did not
Tyler.
try to get the $100.
I feel like Tyler.
Is that what happened?
Owes
No.
me $100. Is what I'm saying.
Is that what actually happened?
He offered me $100, but I did not take it because I just send him pictures of every NWC I see, and I said, "Do you have pictures of this one?" And every single time, this is Joe Leo on Video Game Sage, and every time that I send him an NWC, like there are NWCs I've seen that have literally been posted on Facebook for 2 minutes and then deleted, and I saw them, saved the picture, sent it to him, like, "Bet you don't have this one." He's like, "Already got that one." So you sent me an NWC and you're like, "This is undiscovered." And I'm like, I'm in Stefan's inner circle. I'm going to show Joe Leo a picture of an NWC he's never seen before. And he's like, "Yeah, Stefan just told me about that 15 minutes ago."
So,
And then he offered to still give me the $100. I'm not doing it for the $100. I'm doing it because I want to win the respect of Joe Leo as someone who can find him an NWC. And I never will. I never will.
hold on. Both of you, knock it off. Go to your respective corners. I've got questions that I need them answered. Did either one of you get $100?
Not yet, but he did ask for my PayPal address.
All right, because I was going to say, this is a f***ing fiasco if it didn't happen.
Yeah, so we should both be mad at Joe Leo.
No, I'm just saying.
He's actually
if
paying
Tyler
you.
messed it up, look, Tyler, you're a putz. You should have just taken the $100, right?
No,
Like,
I'm
if he
not.
offered you the $100,
I would
that-
consider
that-
Joe
you know,
Leo
he
a
would've-
professional acquaintance, if not a friend. So there's no way I'm taking his f***ing money.
This story would be so much better if you actually took the $100.
Right,
really
that's what
would
I'm
be.
telling you. Like, that's what I'm getting to. Tyler, you're messing up the story equity by not taking the $100. It was worth $100 for you to do the wrong thing.
I am strangely about this. I'm here for that. I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
So
See,
wait.
Stefan already
What
agreed-
if I go to that private message and I send him my PayPal address and be like, I'm the one who sent you the picture first,
Hey,
and then I just see what happens.
Tyler.
When he asked
If
me
you
for my
were-
no, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, one, Tyler's never bargained with anyone in his life, so that's definitely not happening. But if you did, I would have so much respect for that moment
Yep, I would too.
that you just went for it. And Stefan wouldn't even be mad.
I
if
might
you got
even
him.
give you like another $100 if that happens.
Yeah. So
I guess we should also clarify that NWC, like the least interesting thing that Stefan picked up. Also, it's great. It's probably not the highest graded NWC ever, like his last NWC, but it's a really nice NWC.
It is a really nice NWC. It's probably a solid, I don't know, but there's one scratch on it that's pretty significant, so it might be like a 7 or an 8, I'm going to say.
Oh, boo.
Gotta...
Oh, Stefan, I'm so sorry that you only got a 7.
You know what? If you guys are gonna be shitty about it, then I'm gonna at least embrace it. I'm just gonna.
I don't know if we were being shitty about it. I don't recall being shitty about it.
No.
But when you're like, "Oh, I got another NWC,"
you immediately brought out the Fat Cat Stefan voice. So then, all bets are off.
Because obviously, hold on? Did you just collect a ton of prototypes and an NWC? Yes or no?
I did 16 prototypes in an NWC.
See how I just said I didn't even list the number, and then you had to clarify exactly how many. That's why Fat Cat Stefan voice.
This isn't an informational podcast, Johnny. People want to know the numbers.
That's true, but I was see. I wanted to see if you would say the numbers because I wasn't going to say your numbers for you.
Yeah,
and you instantly are like, "Oh, it was 16."
16.
Of course you did. There you go. That's why the Fat Cat Stefan, because you get fat catty sometimes, and this is one of those times, and you're a little smug about it, and you know it, and it's fine. And yes, Tyler and I are a little bit jealous. Also, totally fair. Like
to be fair, out of the 16 prototypes, there's only 15 games, Johnny, because there are 2 Final Fantasies.
Yes, and the reason, like, I don't care about all, like, the Ninja guy. Like, I don't care about it. I don't even care that he got an NWC. Like, Stefan knows. There's not, like, it's not that I'm not easily impressed because that's an impressive haul. It's amazing that you got it. That it's an amazing find of historic relics of our hobby that are awesome. But, that doesn't, like, really do anything for me. And I'm not a person who's jealous of other people's collection, but I have such a weird emotional tie to Final Fantasy, like, especially NES and the Super Nintendo, like, Final Fantasy 1 and 2. And you're like, oh, I have 2 Final Fantasy prototypes. I was literally like, you, Stefan, God damn it. And I don't care about, and like, that's just an honest moment. Like, people can be like, I can't believe you're like that. Don't act like that. People, I know how you are. People get jealous. I normally don't. I'm normally a little bit okay with things like this, but I was like, I felt like a weird, like, jealousy pain that I normally don't ever feel. So I was a little jealus, but I still think it's awesome that you got them. I think it's awesome that they were discovered.
Yeah. This was one of those, like, because sometimes I'll reach out to people and they'll be like, oh yeah, there's like a box of stuff, and someday if I find it, then I'll let you know. And so, like, these were literally like rotting in a garage, right? Like an untemperature controlled environment in which, like, in X amount of years, if they stayed there, something horrible could have happened to them. So, in fact, like, one of them I had to clean up considerably. I got it to boot, but like the Dragon Warrior 2 prototype was covered in rust. So yeah, I was from a, like, making sure that they're safe standpoint, I was very pleased with this particular haul because they were in a gross garage for 30 years.
I didn't even remember that Dragon Warrior 2 was part of that lot.
Yeah, like, also another, like, he's got the, like, weird prototypes that I would care about would be, like, a Zelda prototype, Final Fantasy, and Dragon Warriors. And you found Final Fantasy and Dragon Warrior prototypes and the Dragon Warrior map, and I'm just like, what the F? What the hell was happening?
Johnny, I want to say...
At least you just live down the street. You can always
That's
visit
true.
them.
Like, I sincerely mean, if it's not going to be you or Tyler, like, if it's going to happen to someone, I'm glad. If it's not me, I'm glad it's you or Tyler, right? Because I, like, you don't want to say I know it's going to the right place, because I'm sure there's lots of, like, collectors who would do great and proper things with it, but I personally know both of you, so I can go visit them.
Oh, I definitely feel the same way. I'm happy it's not like some guy who's just going to resell them for 10 times the price.
I'm
or
just
in this
happy
case,
it's not the Wada Group, right? Right.
So it's Johnny. I am a jealous person, so I will look at someone's PC game collection, and it'll be a wall of 150 games, and I will have 140 of them, and my eye will immediately focus and be like, Doom 2 screensaver. I don't have that. Is my collection really up to par here? I don't know if I'm good enough.
Who am I
here.
as a person?
But high-end stuff and prototypes are things I specifically don't care about. Like, I see someone like Stefan getting an NWC, whatever. That's like such a Stefan thing to do. Oh, I found an undiscovered NWC. Like, I'm never going to own an NWC, so I don't care. prototypes, specifically NES prototypes, I don't care about because they're just translations. Because the real game was made in Japan. This is just some prototype, like fixing it up for the US audience with English text. But Ninja Gaiden 3 is a game I specifically love because they fixed it in the NES version, and it's not like an easy Kirby game like the Famicom version. So I'm very happy for you, Stefan, and I hate you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I feel like a lot, like most titles I don't give a shit about, but like you find like 2 of the games and I'm like, oh, those are like 2 of my favorite Nintendo games. It's not like you found like RC Pro-Am's a good game that I like, but if you're like, I found an RC Pro-Am proto, I'd be like, that's fine, I guess. Whatever.
that would be literally everyone's reaction to an RC Pro-Am.
You know, but Final Fantasy, holy shit. Anyways, what else you want to tell us about it before we get into the meat of the episode?
No, I think that's it.
When are you dumping them?
All right.
This has to be common knowledge by now, but WADA is ramping up a new certification process for their prototypes specifically that they're going through Frank Cifaldi. So, who is like the guy I would probably send them to get dumped anyway. So I'm just gonna get them graded, and Frank's gonna dump them for me. So, that's. I'm just going to send them in. So however long that takes, and that's how long it'll be before they're done.
How long before they're in some rainbow colored shell that you start selling them for like $40 on Nintendo Age? Oh wait, Nintendo Age is
it's not going to be me, but I'm sure they'll be all over
Yeah.
fucking Etsy.
Yeah, that's so gross. Anyway, again, congrats, but let's tell everybody what this episode is, now that we've properly roasted Stefan for being just doing, again, the most Stefan thing possible.
Like, maybe, like, even in Stefan terms, this is probably his best pickup ever.
Yeah, I mean, I did kind of post that. I was like, you know, sometimes I say, like, oh, I don't know how I'll top this. But, like, normally I'm joking when I say that. But this time I'm not really sure.
Is it, like, I'm torn between this and the last art box.
Yeah, like, all that stuff was one of a kind. So, definitely to the right person, I think the art stuff would be better. But it's just so ridiculous.
Yeah, again, but like, and that art stuff had a Dragon Warrior map. Again, like, there's rare things that I care about. Like, if you pulled like something like a Castlevania, like weird art that I'd never seen, or, you know, a Castlevania prototype, these are the things I care about. And it's weird that you like, you know, there's only like, you know, 5 Nintendo games I hold in that kind of regard, and you found 2 of them. So that's weird. Like Ninja Gaiden 3, I'm just like, oh, cool. Tyler's like, what the, you know, he's losing his mind, but
what the?
I'm like,
Stefan, yeah, thanks for
I'm like, that's cool.
That's exactly
Ninja Gaiden,
my reaction,
who cares?
Of course.
So anyways, we're doing a Halloween episode because it is that time of the year. It, as I say every year, it is my favoriteest time, and we get to talk about Halloween, guys. I make these guys go find games that they otherwise wouldn't be looking or thinking about, and I'm like, all right, now tell us something collectible about them. I just drag them into my world. Like, the podcast gets to be its own thing, except for these 2 episodes, the Halloween episodes and the Christmas episode each year. And these guys are like, God damn it, why? It's that time of year. They're like over there cursing, and I'm over here, you know, rubbing my hands together and just grinning, even though
it's only because you make us do it more than once.
Yeah,
you should be happy that we go so long, or I'd want 4 episodes. When Tyler first came on, it was like a 4 episode deal, like a month.
Yeah, that was rough.
We did a bunch around Christmas too in the beginning.
Yeah, and I think 1 or 2 still.
I could deal with the Halloween stuff because horror is a great genre, but like Christmas, there's so few games that you have to find the most tangential links to do a Christmas episode.
But that's part of the fun. Like, it drawing those links and like showing people stuff they haven't seen is part of the fun. You're like, look at this weird one. That's like part of the joy of it. And the
Ninja
Halloween
Gaiden
is
Act
like,
3 has a snow level, so we're going to be talking about Ninja Gaiden.
Look, we could do an episode of like games with the best winter scene in a game. Top 10 winter scenes in games.
That's not collectible, Johnny. This is a collectibles podcast.
I said, and if they are collectible. Already covered that.
See, also horror is built in because virtually every horror game, except if it's on like the Wii, is collectible.
Yeah, but even the ones on the Wii like are slightly collectible now. Though, like, The Wii has a couple of special ones. One day maybe we'll be so starved for content we'll do the 5 best horror games on the Wii. And are they collectible? The answer is kinda.
Ju-on, that's the one. Thanks for
Ju-on,
coming, everybody. House of the Dead Overkill. This game's it's worth $27 now, guys.
Silent Hill Shattered Memory is on there.
Oh, yeah, there it does have that.
You have Obscure. There's like a few.
Obscure 2, which you can now get sealed on Wii. You could probably get 4 copies of that for less than a complete in box Obscure on PS2.
Oh yeah, just spoiler alert. Obscure one on the PS2 is very expensive now.
I don't want to give away too many. I don't want to make too many jokes. I don't know what's actually on you guys' lists of games here.
That is not on my list, though I did think about talking about it. Anyways, guys, we've got 13-ish games for you this Halloween, which is 11 to 13, somewhere in there. I don't know what the final number is going to be, but I'm sure it'll be in the episode title when we figure it out. So who wants to start with a game that, this is I kind of rebranded them to So You Want to Collect for Halloween. We're basically just going to tell you about a game that is Halloween-ish, that is a fun game to play, or is a game you could play on Halloween or collect if you were like us. And, if it's expensive, if you got any specific notes about it, things you should know, that's what we're doing here. If you haven't listened to any of the other episodes, go back and we do the same thing. So, we're back at it. Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
No one. Okay, go.
I'm going to start with Vampire the Masquerade Redemption for the PC.
Oh, I thought we said collectible.
What? You thought what?
We said collectible. That is collectible.
Okay. So this game is pretty easy to find, jewel case only. It's a guilty pleasure for me. I have very fond teenage memories playing this game. And I think I'm not 100% sure whether or not this thing comes with a necklace. I have a very visceral memory in my head that there is a version of this that comes with a necklace that looks like the Ankh on the cover of the game. But in looking at listings, I can't find a copy that has this necklace that I can literally see in my head, around my neck as a teenager. So it may or may not, there may or may not be an edition that comes with a necklace, tchotchke. But yeah, so it's pretty easy to find, jewel case only. If you just want to play it for a playing copy. I think it's a Windows 2000 game though, so I don't know if you're going to be able to play it on a modern solution. I'm sure you could probably DOSBox it or something. But I love the game. It's a third-person adventure game based around the Vampire the Masquerade mythos. By
White Wolf.
By White Wolf. Yeah, so if you want it complete though, it's more in the $30 to $50 range, but it's not that it's expensive as much as it just seems to be kind of difficult to find complete. It's one of those things where it's rampant jewel case only, but much less so as a CIB game. But it's one of the few Halloween games that I'll talk about that I really, really suggest you play. And there's also a follow-up called Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. That's also a great game. So, there you go.
So, and for people who don't know, and this is true, right, Stefan? You don't really love horror games. You're not
No, I really hate them, actually.
Yeah, so for Stefan to have one that he actually likes, it's a serious recommendation. Follow-up question. Did you ever LARP? Was this something you LARPed?
I did pen and paper version. I didn't actually, because Masquerade has actual LARP rules.
Yeah,
that's a separate book, the Theater of the Mind's Eye. But I did not partake. I did play.
I was just curious, if you had to rock paper scissors people to make a decision or take over a city.
No, thank
or something.
God. I did play tabletop. My group avoided live action because around that same time, the local police departments in the Pasadena area were actually cracking down on LARPers because they were in our local scene, they were doing putting pentagrams on church grounds and then leaving them there. So
was this, by chance, was this like, say, 2004, 2005-ish?
no, I think this is more like 96, 98, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
So, for people who don't know, in Southern California, there was a very large vampire LARP scene. I never got into LARP. I had some friends who were into it, which I teased mercilessly just because LARPing to me seems so silly. But, you know, it's not nice to make fun of things that people enjoy just, you know, for no good reason. It was gentle ribbing. But, yeah, there was a big LARP scene out here. And I don't know much about it, except they all did it. I tried to ignore most of it, except I think one of my friends was Ventu Primogen. So if that means anything to anybody, there you go. That's some stuff I know. I just, the like vampire LARP, if you've never seen LARP, like it's a lot of fun to participate, I'm sure. But if you are looking at it as an outsider, it looks like a very strange event, and you like see people like making big decisions like through rock, paper, scissors mechanics, which is kind of funny. You're just like, what's happening? You're like, they're playing vampire. I'm like, so why are they rock, paper, scissoring? Oh, that's how decisions are made. What the hell is going on now? What? Yeah. So anytime I see any White Wolf property or Vampire the Masquerade, I'm always like, LARP, even though I don't think this LARP was specific to the Masquerade. Anyways, yeah. If you're into LARP, hey, cool. I hope you are enjoying it. And, well, probably not right now because coronavirus, but I hope you enjoy it when you can do it. I know it's big at Gen Con and stuff. So anyways, Tyler, you ever LARP?
I've never LARPed. Just play D&D like a normal person, not a nerd, Johnny.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Good one. Yeah. Most of my friends who LARPed, I found out they LARPed through our D&D game because, you know, I was too cool for LARP, but I was there for D&D, much like Tyler.
Yeah. Come on.
We do talk about the narcissism of minor differences on this show, and that's certainly I remember, like, you know, looking at LARPers as being a tabletop gamer and be like, that's something.
LARPers.
Oh, those people
nerds.
having fun over there.
I
Why?
can't believe those nerds kept LARPing over there. Could they just be like D&D
LARP
like
it up,
normal
nerds.
people? Yeah.
Get up, nerds.
So that should be one of our buttons. LARP it up, nerds. Anyways, Tyler, what is your first game for us this Halloween season?
Oh, I'll say if you do on Vampire the Masquerade, you should buy it right now because it is kind of hard to find, and the first real vampire game in 15 or 20 years is coming out next year. So get in before it gets hot.
Ooh.
I don't know if games get hot anymore, but
I don't know. There's another
hot
vampire
spec
game.
pick Vampire the Masquerade. I will hype the hell out of it because I don't give a shit about it.
What is it called? There's like a new Castlevania-esque game coming out. Like I think Vampires of Wallachia or something coming out soon.
Oh, I
for
meant
the Switch.
new vampire game in like the Vampire series because
Like an actual
okay.
White
like
Wolf
there's
game?
other
Yeah.
vampire games besides the Masquerade Redemption and Bloodlines. There's like visual novels and stuff, but none of those count. So Bloodlines 2 is
Okay.
coming out, which is I think the third real game in the series.
Oh, nice. See, bonus info. Yeah, go get it now.
Yeah.
All right, Tyler, what's your game?
So this is a game I'm 80% sure I haven't brought up on a previous episode. Actually, every game I think I'm talking about, I don't own, and I'm actively looking for, or I'm looking for something tangentially related to it. So it's Cosmology of Kyoto for the personal computer, which is a very trippy adventure game. I would say maybe in the style of LSD because it's sort of like a non-linear narrative exploration-based game. Not that LSD really has a narrative. It's kind of similar to the new game World of Horror, maybe, if you've seen that. World of Horror is that black and white Japanese horror game that's kind of Lovecraftian. That's very hard. This is a game that explores like religion and philosophy and Buddhism, and like demons will kill you and you'll die and you'll get resurrected, and depending on what you did in your previous life, you go to some different aspect of hell. I don't really understand how Buddhism works, but it explores all that kind of stuff. I guess its biggest claim to fame is that it's the only video game Roger Ebert ever liked, and it came out in 1995, to be clear. It was a very, one of these mid-90s very important games and being like, oh, video games are art. This is real art. Because it's this doesn't look like Robotron to me. What could this be? Is this a video game? And like now we're so far beyond that, but it is just a really cool narrative thing. I haven't seen one for sale in months. If I have seen one, maybe the minimum I've ever seen it, even like fleeting past my eyes, was $300. Maybe it goes up to about $1,000. I'm mentioning it because I bet most people haven't even heard of it, but there are some very weird, rare, usually Japanese computer games. This one got I'm talking about the US release for the still super expensive in the US release. But yeah, this is one of those games that you might not have even heard of that goes for hundreds and hundreds of dollars to a actual cult classic, very tiny group of people.
Yeah, I've never heard of this game. What system is this? What is computer? What is this, PC?
Yeah, it's a PC game. Maybe
PC,
I think it's Mac too, but you don't care.
Okay. No.
Yeah, so I don't know, go look it up. It's like everything is super dark, and it's not like, I don't know how to say, it's not like Lovecraftian, like everything, look at this guy, he's just made of 4 million mouths, but there is some like kind of weird disturbing religious imagery in it. It looks super cool. I want to own it for less than $1,000 preferably.
I kind of want to go check it out.
Yeah. To be clear, I don't have a price because there's none on eBay. It has never been discussed in the Big Box PC group. And there's none on eBay completed. I can't even find a copy that's been for sale recently. So who knows?
Who knows indeed. All right.
This is where we'll find out that this game doesn't exist and that Tyler actually has a brain tumor. And that this
is just like LSD. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Like, whoa. Someone should help Tyler. All right, so I'm going to go a little more modern and maybe games you do or do not exist. And I'm going to give you a double pack here. Saw 1 and Saw 2. These, to be clear, this is not a double pack. They don't come together. They should, but they don't. Both of these games can be found on the Xbox 360 or the PS3. Both of them are very much like the Saw movies. In fact, a lot of the criticism that these games drew was the same that the movies drew, for basically being like excessive torture porn-esque kind of games. I don't know if I agree with all of that. I think the first Saw was like, yeah, it was a little dark. I thought that the idea of it was a little interesting, not completely original, but it wasn't terrible. I think overall as a franchise, maybe I got a little fatigued after the second one, but I'm not into that style of horror very often. I'm not going to tell people that that's complete garbage and they shouldn't like it, but a lot of the critics were very upset, especially because of one scene where you dig around in a dude's guts looking for a key in the first Saw game. So
that sounds exactly like what you would do in a Saw game.
Right. Like, if that isn't in the game, then is it really a Saw game? That's my question. But whatever, teach their own. The interesting thing about these games for both systems is they're kind of hard to find. I mean, look, let me temper that a little bit with saying that it's on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. So hard to find for modern consoles means overly abundant, really. Like you can still get them, but you're not going to find as many as your average PS3 game. Doesn't mean there's not still a ton of them on eBay. The first one is a little bit trickier, and I don't know why this is, but Saw 1 on the PS3 is like always missing its manual. Like always. I don't know what this is. When I was buying mine, I found it very difficult to find the manual. I was like, what is going on? And I looked for it for like a month and a half. There were ones with manuals, but they were like incredibly overpriced. So sometimes you'll have to fish around. By overpriced, it's still like just $35 to $50. It's in that range. It's not too expensive. Saw 2 is a little more expensive on the PS3 at can be up to $50, while the Xbox 361 is like $25 to $35. So imagine you're paying in the range for either of these games, $35 to $55, put it in that, but make sure that you get the one with the manual because it's a modern game. And if you're buying them disc only, disc in case, you're doing yourself a big disservice. Don't waste your time with that nonsense.
Because you're just going to buy another CIB copy later.
Right. And tracking down the manuals for those, sure, you can do it, but that's Your time is valuable. Stefan and I say this a lot. Your time is valuable. Even Tyler's on this train now. Time is valuable. Don't do that to yourself. Just buy it complete. Like if you find it at a garage sale for $1, don't be like, no, I'm not wasting my time with that. Yeah, obviously the deal is right. We talked about this in the last episode. If the deal is right, then whatever. But if you are specifically going to eBay, don't save that $3 because you think you're going to find that manual one day. Just buy the more expensive copy and get the one with the manual.
Yep.
So, anyways, if you like the Saw movies, you will enjoy these games. It was interesting that they were made by Konami, so it's not like a small publisher or anything, though Konami has not had like a stellar track record in the last 10 years, 15, 20 years, whatever it is. Konami's been like a little loose with their properties. Not a lot to say about it. It's a survival horror game. It got like kind of okay reviews, mixed reviews. It's not that expensive. It can be difficult to find complete. Also, like, it seems like the copies are always beat up. And I don't know why that is. So,
because weirdos buy Saw games.
Yeah.
It's
so
probably true.
Yes, that is probably true. Or they just got like slammed into rental bins, you know, GameStops where they're crammed with like too many games and people thumbing through the like 5 for $20 bins or whatever and got smashed up during that time frame. Just probably more likely. So fun.
I'm looking through this game, so I don't know a lot about the Saw games. I'm a huge Saw fan.
Are you?
I love horror movies. I am so sad that they stopped making yearly Saw movies, like even the bad ones.
That was supposed to be a new one this year, but it got pushed back to next year.
Yeah, the Chris Rock one. Like whatever. I don't even care. Like whatever. I'm in. Give me any Saw movie. I'm in, good or bad. And looking at the game, like if I was playing a Saw game, what I would want is a whole bunch of new creative traps. And I'm looking at this game. It's like, oh, there's the Amanda's reverse bear trap. Oh, there's the shotgun collar. Oh, there's a saw blade on a pendulum. And it's like, oh, I've already seen all this stuff. Nothing is going to shock me by seeing an Xbox 360 character get chopped in half by a pendulum saw.
Yeah, but this time it's your fault.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to imagine that games in this vein are trying to deliver what you like. It is a movie game. They are trying to deliver what you got from the movies.
I guess so. But the whole reason I enjoy the movies is the creative kills. So seeing them again it seems uncreative.
Okay, but I'm just going to disagree because I think that's what people are roped in for. It's a movie game. It's not its own thing. Like, would it be
I don't
cool
think
if
anyone who is buying a Saw game holds it's so sacred that they're like, you can't do anything different. We want all the same stuff. They're just like, show me people dying.
No, but like if you are trying to sell the game, like, I would be way more in for a Saw game that's like an original game in the universe. Like, here's Jigsaw and he's back, or like in the middle of these two movies, Jigsaw also went and did this thing. So let's see it. You know, I would be for that, but that's not what these were, especially not during the time frame in which these were made, which was around 2009. Just so you guys know.
Did they make Final Destination games? I was just thinking about, like, Tyler was talking about the yearly things and how they stopped making yearly Saws. And I felt real sad about Final Destination not having yearly installments anymore. And
when did that stop? That was what, that started in what, like 2000-ish Final Destinations to like 2005?
I love those films.
Those are great too.
Like I don't even like, as Johnny mentioned, I don't even like horror movies, and I guess those are kind of horror movies, right?
Kind of.
Those are horror movies. Yeah,
they're definitely.
You see people die in creative ways. Yes, that's 100% horror movies.
I would be totally behind games in that nature.
That's weird. Yeah, I mean, I like those movies because everybody dies in those movies. Like, would you in the game be like the evil force that has to cause people to die? It would be like Haunting starring Poltergeist meets Chiller. That would be a cool game.
SimCity of Death.
Ooh.
So, the bigger reason I bring up these games is one, it's got a fan base. Two, it was supposed to have a new movie coming out this year to draw back interest. But also, when you look at games, there aren't too many games exactly like this, and this is like a very specific franchise, like a well-loved, like, I didn't even know this about Tyler. I didn't bring this up just for him. I had literally no clue, but you know, it's got crossover appeal to an audience that will snap these up. So it's not just going to be the horror fans that are outside of, you know, or not that just are in gaming, but also outside of gaming you can see potentially buying these. And I'll get to one of the games on my list. I'll talk about how that's actually played out through time. So yeah, if you see these at a reasonable price and you're into horror games, like these are definitely a good one to add to your collection. That's all I got on those. So whoever wants to go next.
It's my turn, right?
Yeah.
I think I'll go with Medieval for the PS4.
Medieval.
For the PS4.
For the
We're talking about
PS4.
collectible video games, though, Stefan.
Yeah, the PS4
You don't want to talk
remake.
about you don't want to just talk about both of them?
Nope, because I'm pretty sure I already talked about the first one.
Oh my god.
But
We'll give
I
it
will
to you
talk
because
about-
I think I already maybe talked about Cosmology of Kyoto.
I'm gonna talk about the PS4 remake and the European Steelbook. So that's two versions.
Well, you got to talk about
sort
the
of,
demo
that I'm talking
that we
about.
talked about too.
Yeah, but that's its own intro. That's its own entry. That's my fourth game.
That's your fourth game? All right.
Yeah.
Oh, you're really milking that.
guy.
All right.
Yeah, I am. So Medieval, the original, of course, was the PS1 masterpiece that got a PS4 remake, and so you can find this all day new, the NTSC version, for like $20. Where it gets interesting though is that in other territories, European territories, they did a retailer incentive, which was a steelbook that was just sort of a while supplies last steelbook that just came with the retail version. So now you're seeing basically the steelbook only goes for $75 or some permutation plus shipping of $75. Here it is for $20, but I'm going to charge you $50 to ship it. So yeah, that's one of my favorite games on the PS1, actually, Medieval, and the PS4 remake is also very good. So yeah, get out there and buy your $20 brand new version or your, I guess, probably $80 or $90 version, all said and done, copy with the steelbook. Do it.
Yeah, I think you're definitely if you don't own this game and you've never played it, definitely, well, you either pick up the original, but if not, the remaster is an excellent game. I played through it last year. It was my Halloween game, or maybe it was 2 years ago now. Man, time has gotten real weird. But yeah, it's fantastic. Medieval is always a fantastic game. You can't go wrong.
And Johnny and I were talking about it before the podcast. It's not just a good thematic Halloween game. It's just a great game.
Good game.
So good.
For a while, a picture of Medieval on the PS1, just one of my random standing in my kitchen when it came in the mail, copy from a few years ago. For 2 years, it was my most liked picture.
Nice.
Yeah. It was one of those ones that hit the algorithm right, and then a bunch of people saw it. So for some reason, it got 2,000 likes, and I was just wow, weird. All right, people love Medieval, and they're not wrong.
And Johnny, you just played it, so you can tell me: is it basically the exact same thing as the original PlayStation version?
Let's see. Would I say it's the exact same? Yeah, pretty much. Pretty close. I mean, you got to remember, I played the original Medieval when it came out on the PS1 and then never played it again until the remake. So it had been 18 years.
I guess I'm saying this because the main criticism I heard of the remake is that it was exactly the same thing as the PS1 thing. And the only thing that will make me not complain about a video game is if it's exactly what the original game was and they didn't with it at all. So the Crash Bandicoot remake, it's they with everything, and people like it more because they with it and they made it more modern and they made it easier and people like that stuff. But would you say it felt like playing a PS1 game just with better graphics?
A little bit, but I mean, the game always felt pretty good. So it felt good for a PS1 game at the same time, So I didn't feel I don't feel like the camera was as bad, but I always feel that way about PS1 games. I always feel like the camera is always bad. And I didn't feel that way, though. There was a few times the camera got stupid on it. So yeah, maybe it was just like playing a PS1 game. But, Tyler, I can't tell you how different it was. Like I said, it had been so long in between for me. My memory of Medieval is basically all the big scenes and being man, this is an awesome game. And then, 15 to 18 years later going, oh man, they remade that awesome game that I liked that one time. Let's go play it again. Yeah, this is still awesome.
I feel like reviewers often like get into this trap where they go like, "Oh, it's a remake. I should go play the first game so I can compare it," which I get. But at the same time, then you're a person who has just played the original and are now playing it again. So it's like where Johnny's example is like, oh yeah, he has these like nostalgic feels for this game he played years ago and is now playing the game again. And if it's the identical experience, then yeah. But like the people who are tearing it apart literally just played the first game last week and then are now playing the remake. So yes, of course it's going to feel stale. You just played it.
Whatever.
Asshole.
You think the reviewers go through that much effort? These reviewers are like 22 years old and they're like, ugh, Super Mario 64. Who could play this game? It is aged so poorly. I can't have fun with this game. The camera. Oh. Game reviewers are garbage. You all. If you reviewed Super Mario 3D All-Stars, you. Because whatever, you said something wrong. I don't know what you said, but you said something wrong.
Whoa. I was going to say, I played 64 on the Wii U when they released it there. And look, there are some rough patches on that, but that's why you have to keep games in the time in which they were created. But then, like, if you're trying to compare games, like, is when people say, oh, Ocarina of Time is the best Zelda game. And I think
are we just going to pile on me because I was piling on reviewers right now?
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to say, like, Ocarina of Time is not the best Zelda. It was the best Zelda I had played, I think, at that moment, though I later revised it to, like Link to the Past better. But, N64 is such an awkward console. It's in such a weird time. Like, everything was in, like, this weird moment. So, I just like the improvement. And then that's how I feel about Mario 64. Like, I like where they're going, but I like Galaxy better. I just think, like, they took everything that was good about Mario 64, found an interesting way to kind of represent it and, like, clean up the graphics and then give you horrible motion controls.
Everything you love is garbage, Tyler.
Yeah.
God, you could say Galaxy because Galaxies, those are all perfect too. So.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like the refinement that, like, so it, like, of the time, if you like are keeping it up there, you can be like, this is the best Mario. But when you actually like start removing your nostalgia and like, it's hard to do because you have to place yourself like this game, like you've got 20 years now of bonus technology on top of us. Of like, hopefully Nintendo did its job and made this next game they made with your beloved character a better version and experience, because like if they didn't, that's them not being successful. It's ridiculous. It's like creating Mario Sunshine after Mario 64.
Well, I mean, Mario
seriously,
Odyssey.
Mario Sunshine sucks. I'm tired of people telling me it doesn't. It might be fine for a regular game, but Mario Sunshine sucks, guys. Sucks.
But
terrible mechanic, terrible idea. Boo. Boo Mario Sunshine. Stop talking about it.
Boo this man.
In terms, all right, go ahead, Steph. Forget this Mario.
I was just going to say, because the boys gave me some time to look it up. If you're interested, the original Medieval can also be had for around $40 to $50 complete. Same thing with its sequel, which was also for the PS1, Medieval 2. Or you can be the crazy person 3 days ago who paid $440 for it sealed.
No, you should like 100%. If you don't have Medieval, you should be buying that now, because all the investor groups are coming in and like figuring out what are their games to buy. One day Medieval is going to be on that list because it's one of the best.
20 bids for $440.
So I'm saying it's one of the best PS1 games that they ever made. It's like out of a console that has like nearly 1,100 games, it is, at least for me, it's in the top 10, but for everyone, it should be in their top 20. So, just think about that in terms of when investors are coming and like what they've targeted. Think of Dennis and his 4 R's, relevancy, and relevancy. and rare. Oh, I'm sorry. It's relevancy, rarity, relevancy, and rarity, right? Those are all 4 of them.
Did you say our condition?
The our condition was one we brought up in the last episode.
Yeah. So, Medieval is it's going to be there, is my point. So if you're sleeping on this game, or you've been like, no, I'll get it later. No, you should stop that, especially Halloween time. It sees a little price bump because people get nostalgic. So just do yourself a favor and get out there and get it before, sad things happen to you.
Also,
Johnny,
the cover for the Japanese import version of this game is amazing. BT dubs. I'm just looking at it.
Okay.
what is it of?
Yes,
Can you
Tyler, what are you
paint a word picture for us?
It is a hand drawn rather than claymation, which most of the visual or the promotional visuals of that game were. It is a hand drawn version of the main character from Medieval. Forget his name. And a nicely painted map in the background. I really like it.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I do want to. So far, we're gonna keep tracking this episode. I've bought a copy of Saw and Saw 2 for the Xbox 360
Nice.
for $50. I paid for both of them.
Oh, did you buy the guy selling it one?
Yeah,
lot for
there was a
50?
guy selling them both of them. They both were in nice shape.
Yeah.
Like you said, like there weren't like big condition problems, but all the cheaper ones had like little condition problems. I'm over like saving $3 to get like a little scratch in a case. If I can get it like perfect for whatever price, I'm just gonna get whatever the cheapest perfect one is.
Yeah, well, and after our last episode, just like when things get graded and like the huge disparity between like a 9 and a 7, like it's a weird world where now, like, I still stand by you. If you're in this hobby and you are a collector, you should be in here because you love it, not because you're trying to invest. But, real world situations come up. You have to sell your stuff sometimes. And, that $3 you saved may have cost you, way more than $3 down the line. So
Yeah.
just do the right thing now. Just,
You can just never sell your games
value.
and just be happy with
well,
your
yeah, you can
conditions, but-
become like Tyler, who would just die with all of them. Like I said in the last episode, Tyler's a black hole. Once a game goes to him, it might as well be thrown in a shredder. It's never leaving.
Also, Medieval, fun fact, was the first game that I bootlegged when I was a kid.
Really?
Cool.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Yeah, with the switching discs trick for the PS1. That was the first game that I ever burned to CD was Medieval. Fun fact.
I bet you weren't sad about that either. You were like, yes, this game is awesome.
This game is awesome.
It truly is awesome. Like, just go get them. Go get both of them. Don't sleep on them. Just go do it.
There's a guy with 4 different copies of Medieval. Wait, what? I think eBay is just f***ing up and showing me this guy's list.
Oh, snaps. There's a rental only version too. That's like different.
What?
Really?
What?
Oh, it's a PAL. Is it PAL? Looks like it's PAL. But it also, like, the disc says rental only, not for resale on it.
Oh, that's cool. Oh yeah, I'm seeing the weird PAL covers. They're all right. I still very much like the original cover of Medieval. So,
All right, I guess I'm gonna go buy Medieval and Medieval 2 now.
you don't have those in your collection?
Let me double check. I don't have a lot of PlayStation games.
Okay,
I don't
well,
think I
you
don't
should.
think I have.
Well, both of you should go rectify that.
So here's this is gonna be another one of those shows. All right.
I said to Johnny before the show, we should just like buy a bunch of shit on the show, and he's like, "No, we shouldn't do that."
So,
and that's exactly what
the
we're
fact
doing.
that you said that made me want to do it, and like you're bringing up games where it's like, yeah, that what, Johnny's right, that is a game. I'm like, I'll get it one day.
We used to, for newer listeners, we used to do this all the f***ing time. Like every episode, there would just be like a 10-minute segment of us just going like, "Oh yeah, let's just like sit here and buy shit live on eBay."
And that was hold on. That was mainly Stefan, not me.
That's fair. It was mainly me.
Mainly, man. Medieval is such a good game. Like, the more I think about Medieval, I'm like, I should have more Medieval stuff. That's the problem with this game. So if you're sleeping on it, Tyler, go buy it right now. Don't be a dummy. But Tyler, what is your next game before you go off and buy Medieval? Or do you want me to go?
No, it's all right. Should I mix it up or just keep the crazy train going? All right, let's go with Alice, an Interactive Museum, the other incredibly expensive computer game I've been looking for years.
Man, is this just like your give up pile? Did you like, these are the games I'm giving up on?
I mean, pretty much. Like, I'm not giving up on them, but they're so expensive, I don't think I can, like, there's nowhere for them to go. They're already, like, discovered cult classic games. Alice, an Interactive Museum. You would think it's based on Alice in Wonderland, but it's kind of not. It's only very tangentially based on Alice in Wonderland. So it's a Myst-like point-and-click adventure game where you go to Wonderland and you go to a museum in Wonderland, and the museum is full of art by, what's his name? Kuniyoshi Kaneko. Do you know who that is?
No, not offhand. Give me a reference. Like,
he's
what did
apparently a famous Japanese artist. I have no idea who he is. If you go to his Wikipedia page, he has like 3 things listed, and one of them is Alice in Interactive Museum. So it's like maybe he's not that famous. But it is absolutely chock full of interactive art pieces and lots of nudity. Just tons of nudity in this game. Artistic nudity, which is maybe a reason that it's very expensive. And it's very strange and pretty creepy, which is why it's on this list. And so it was made by the same person who made Gadget, Invention, Time Travel, and Adventure, I believe is the subtitle, remade as Gadget Past as Future. Do either you know what that game is, Gadget?
No.
Nope.
Fantastic. So we're all on the same page here. So this guy, this is another one. This one came out in 1991 in Japan, and it was released much later in America. I don't have it written down. I think it was it was something like 93 through 95. It was years later in America. And it's another one of those very early games where people are like, "Oh, are games art?" This game is very artistic. Like it's full of interactive paintings, and it's an adventure game, but I think mostly it's like point and click weirdness. And like the goal of the game is you're put into this museum. You have to find every card in a deck of cards, and each of the cards has a hint on where to find the next card or some hint towards what you need to do to complete the game. And there's no save system or anything, so you're just supposed to like complete a notebook, and then every time you complete the game, you like kind of go for the next thing, and you use your knowledge to beat the game, not like a save file. So I don't know, that's kind of cool.
So is this like horror? Like what is it? What makes this Halloween? Just the weirdness?
It's creepy. I don't know. Like if you saw Alice in Wonderland, like weird visuals with like no music in like weird early 90s 3D rendering, like just the way it's presented is very creepy. Like it's not a lighthearted Alice in Wonderland game.
I mean, look, there is like they've made Alice in Wonderland, Alice Madness Returns and all that. Yeah. Just, they made creepy Alice games. So I'm not like disputing. I was just wondering if there was like what specifically about this version.
Yeah, it's creepy. You should look it up at a time
I'm
not
looking
at work.
It, like I think, I'm looking at the innards, like the invitation's a little creepy. Just like, I'm like, what is going on here?
So you're looking at the Japanese copy?
Yeah.
So the Japanese copy, it comes with that's an invitation. So I knew it was an envelope of some kind. I didn't realize it was an invitation. And I believe it's a deck of cards. I've never actually seen it opened, but it looks exactly like a deck of cards. And it comes in this unique square box. And then
it's way
the
cooler
American
than
one,
the US. The American one is way less good.
It's garbage. It sucks. So
the
same thing with Gadget. I searched for not months, probably a while for it was a sealed Gadget I ended up finding because it costs nothing, the same as complete in box. I opened it up. There's not even a manual in there. It's just the cardboard structure of the box with a jewel case in it. It's like, why did I even buy this? But the Japanese one, super cool. There's one on eBay right now for $800, and there's an American one for $500. But the last Japanese one of this that sold went for $175, which is on eBay completed listings. So this is nowhere as rare as Cosmology of Kyoto. But it is an interesting game. And maybe it brings up an interesting dilemma because with console games, I could kind of buy the American or the Japanese release as long as it's playable in either of them. For PC games, I always buy the American release because basically every single PC developer that I'm interested in is an American developer, where it's kind of the opposite on consoles. Like consoles, I only care about Japanese games. But this game, do I want the American version or do I want the Japanese version? The Japanese version is way cooler, but I wouldn't be able to play it. And I realize it's for my collection and all, so it doesn't really matter. But
I mean, this is like one of those weird times, Tyler, because, normally I'm just like, buy the US copy, don't worry about but the Japanese version is so much cooler.
It really is. I think if I ever bought it, I would get the Japanese version.
It's like leaps and bounds. Like
I feel really bad when I buy a big box PC game and it's just an empty box with a jewel case in it.
Well, and it's got like the weird art and it's got like, the deck of cards in there too. And yes, Tyler, it is a deck of cards.
Okay.
in there, and it has art from the game on like the Jokers and the Queens and stuff. Like super cool, so much cooler. Like I'd say you gotta do that.
All right. Well, I've had it in a safe search forever, and one has not come up at the price I want to pay. So
the interesting thing is the same guy is selling both of them.
Yeah, there's a major PC collector in Croatia who has been putting a ton of good stuff. So he's been putting a ton of good stuff, a lot of Amiga stuff on eBay, and he starts them at 99 cents plus whatever combined shipping is from Croatia. And these are the 2 games he has at a fixed price. He's like, no, I'm not letting you get Alice in Interactive Museum for only $150. You have to pay the full price I think these are worth. Oh well.
Say la vie.
So I hope everyone enjoyed hearing about another game that no one has any idea of what it is, and most of our listeners will never care about because it's only on PC and Mac.
Yeah.
Sorry, what are we talking about?
Yeah. Wake up, Stefan. Wake up.
Where am I?
Dreaming. We are still doing a Halloween episode. It is still like several more games to go.
I blacked out.
Stefan, I did say this game includes a lot of nudity, so please perk up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, that
I do support
doesn't
nerd.
get his attention.
Nerdity? I said
Nerdity,
whatever.
yes.
Okay.
Nerdity.
I'm just going to go on and bring our audience back to us. Taylor, like this episode is kind of like, we got a lot of cussing and we're discussing nudity. Maybe we should just not worry about bleeping this whole episode and then just throw out a warning at the front of the episode.
All right. Sure.
Like, you know.
Whatever you want. Or we could just go explicit.
Because, you know, the holiday episodes are like definitely the ones the kids want to listen to, probably. You know, it's I'm going to just tangent real quick. So part of the reason I love to do the Halloween episodes is because and the Christmas episodes is because I model it after like 80s television. And there was always like some holiday special on Halloween. Halloween was one of the like TV shows got it. Like you got special movies. You got special stuff around Halloween specifically for that. So like that special episode, like every year I would look forward to that content coming. So that's why I think it's important that we do it for Halloween and Christmas. So if people are wondering why I'm like, aside from just loving Halloween, why I insist on this, because like we're a nostalgic hobby, and that was, you know, especially in the 80s, that was something very nostalgic that always happened. I'm sure you guys have Halloween and Christmas specials that you are still your go-tos every year. So that's what this is modeled after. Just some insight into the podcast and why I insist on this. Anyways, my next game, I'm bringing it to
Johnny,
the kids.
before you start, did one of you
God.
buy Medieval out from under me on eBay? Because it was sold out. So the guy had 4 copies. I just bought a different one of his copies. But
No, I did not.
all right. Well, here's just a quick update. Purchased Medieval and Medieval 2.
Yeah,
So let's see what else we could do here, guys.
just like, by the way, it's like getting towards October. So every day you click closer to October, more copies of Medieval are going to sell and go up in price.
Oh, that makes sense.
I did buy a copy of Medieval. I don't know if I bought one out from under you.
Was it $44.95 shipped?
It sure was.
Oh my god.
Wow, this show creates its own competition internally. Fantastic.
This is awesome.
All right. So let's talk about another series that I don't think you should be sleeping on, and it's another one of these consoles that's red hot fire right now. The PS2. Also, some of these games are also on Xbox, but mainly I'm talking about PS2, and that's the Fatal Frame series. I'm working in Fatal Frame 1 through 3 here.
You're cheating. This is cheating.
I well, there's a reason for this that I'm talking about all of them, and
Because you're a cheater.
Yeah, that's it. You were going to talk about the same. See, I bring extra games in mind, and you're like, I'm talking about the same game twice and calling it 2 different ones. That's the Stefan model. We'll see which version people like better. Ooh, gotcha.
Ooh.
Did I get you?
I'm gonna have to change it up now.
Well, I don't care what you do. I love you, Stefan. It's whatever you do is fine by me.
Oh,
So, Fatal Frame 1 and 2 are on the Xbox. 1, 2, and 3 are on the PS2. So on the PS2, and this is like the big deal about them, is they got reprints. GameStop did a batch of reprints of these because these games were very rare, hard to find, you know, a popular series. And then suddenly GameStop did one of those things where it's like, boom, like here's a reprint. They've done it with a few different games, like Donkey Kong Kingdom was one they did for the Wii. What was the other big one they did on the Wii?
One of the Xeno somethings.
Yeah. And I think, Metroid Prime trilogy, right? They did, because you can find it in a regular case now instead of the Steelbook. So this is one in that series of GameStop. The first one is quite different, right? So the first reprint, Fatal Frame 1 is, it's got like a different cover on the manual. On the front of the box, you can tell the Tecmo label is very big on the reprint, and on the regular, it's very small. The back of the box has differences. Like I said, the manual has a different cover. The discs pretty much look the same. People say it might be lighter printed, but that could be anything. That could be this one person just saying they thought it was lighter. The other thing is the paper's a little bit cheaper, so it's a little thinner. They've noticed that on the manual, the paper is thinner on that and on the front cover. So it is hard to tell part 2 and part 3 apart for the reprint editions, because they basically have the same disc, same manual. Everything looks pretty much the same. Yes,
I
I'm
would
sure
bet anything there's a difference. Are you looking
sure
at the backs?
Yeah, see, I don't have the backs of them, so I can't see the back. I only have, but they said what I was reading is they said they pretty much look, the discs look identical, right? So they say the outside looks like it. And again, it just comes back to thinner paper. I'm sure there are tiny differences in here, and I sorry, I don't have the research on this. But like, you're going to have to pay attention. So look for them. You can start to see there's a big price disparity. So the first one is like $60, right? And sometimes you see like a $70 or $80 copy. Fatal Frame 2 and 3, you can buy like a new one for $43 and like $50 around that for 2 and 3 respectively. I think it's $50 for 2 and then $43 for part 3. This was new copies. But then you have some copies out there that, are used going for like $85. None of them say that they're specifically the first print, but it obviously is a thing that must be weighing into what they're selling for, because why do you have ones listed at $44 next to ones that are $100, right? So that's a big thing to look out for. Again, the manuals look the same and everything, so be very careful when you're buying this. Be diligent and do a little more research. Just know that there are reprints. That's like the biggest thing to know. One last thing about the Xbox version, it is part 2 is the director's cut. So there you go. I'll try and like in the interim if I can find like some date differences or something on there. But that's,
look at the ESRB logo on the back. I bet that's different.
Yeah, I'll check that. A lot of them, like later ones, started to incorporate multiple languages too. But yeah, these games are by Tecmo. They're horror. What is it called? Project Zero in Europe. So they are expensive, a well-known series for PS2. So they're games that have once been rare enough to get a reprint from GameStop because they thought they could make more money on it. And now it's, going to be in the collector world, and you're going to see them bump up continually. This is not a game that's like going to be plummeting in price anytime soon. It's a well-known horror series that people, when they're looking for games to buy and like series to post on their Instagram photos, whether it's a good game or not, this is one of those ones that gets a lot of pictures when people are talking about horror games. So keep that in mind when you're looking at these. Just know that there's a reprint. Be decisive on which one you want to buy. Obviously, I would say if you can find the copies and they're about the same price, buy them. But there are sealed copies of what are probably the reprints sitting on eBay right now.
Yeah, and so I see like on Instagram, like there's some game stores that get them like, we just got a whole box full of sealed Fatal Frame games. Come get them before they sell out. It's like they're still printing these. So it's not GameStop that makes this. It's the company is called Game Quest Direct. And they're kind of
but
like,
it was released through, GameStop. It wasn't like they went back into Target. So they went to probably small stores and mainly GameStop is probably.
Yeah. They're kind of like a modern day Majesco. So they've reprinted Rez, they've reprinted Shin Megami Tensei games, Gitaru Man, Eternal Darkness. I don't even know how many games they've reprinted, but chances are if I'm not gonna say chances are, but there's a lot of like weird stuff where towards the end of the 6th generation, I think, like the late 2000s, they started printing some of the more desirable stuff and made that stuff more common. So it's not just the Fatal Frame games you need to watch out for. They're a big one that was super late was the not Mafia, Yakuza games. Those all got reprinted. Those might have been Game Quest. I'm not really sure.
Man, that would be an excellent episode for us to do. Like, games that got reprints, not like a remaster or something, but like real reprints on the systems that they were for. Like, Nintendo had that too. That it's not like Super Mario Brothers. They just stopped printing. They printed it for very many years, right? So at what point do people stop caring about that? Like,
stop caring about what?
No, like that it's a reprint, right? Do we care that it's a reprint, or is this just a late print? Like, do we consider this is it really a reprint, or is it just a late print of the game?
I mean, they call them reprints. Like the company, you could read like interviews with the company, and they're like, we basically go on eBay, and if it's over $100, we try to reprint it. I mean, it's up to you whether you agree with their terminology, I guess.
I know that happened, right? But that's what I'm saying. Like, but they called it that. Isn't actually a reprint though, because it's during the console's life cycle. I just think that's an interesting debate. Like, is it, or just is it the last print of the game?
I mean, I think the idea is that the game stopped being made and there's a clear gap where it has appreciated because the demand for the game eventually exceeds however many they made. So they had to go and make it again. So like Super Mario Brothers, they probably never turned off the machines. They're just always printing Super Mario Brothers for 10 straight years. But like this game, they shut it off. And then 5 years later, like, people are paying $75 for Fatal Frame games. Let's make more of them, make that money.
Yeah. Okay. And that's
I don't know. You should leave a comment on the default gen what are aftermarket games episode and start complaining about reprint terminology and reissue terminology.
I definitely will.
Okay, great.
Cool.
Speaking of Tyler's YouTube channel, if you haven't seen the most recent Retro Gem minor music video, some good stuff.
It is some good stuff. You should definitely go watch that.
I'm surprised that people liked it. So actually, we did call it out in the last episode, which I knew was going to be edited pretty late. I'm surprised people. I thought like the 5 people I made jokes for would like it, and everyone else would be like, "Tyler, you're an idiot. This is the dumbest shit ever." Which, to be clear, it is the dumbest shit ever. People also seem to enjoy it a lot.
Well, I'm glad people liked it.
Did what's his name say anything about it? Does he know it exists?
I don't know
who
what's
like talk about for half the song.
No one has sent me any negative commentary. Even the people I make fun of usually take it in stride. So no, I have not received.
Has Sean sent anything to you?
I very much doubt that Sean from Reserved Investments has seen it.
Well, then
I love
we should
Sean.
make sure that
so
happens.
My biggest fear is that someone will think like I am actually disparaging Reserved Investments when I love him.
But why?
He's
because
treasure.
it's not. It's bad. You hate him. That's what you said.
He's a treasure. And you should all take his investment advice and go get some coins, antique weapons, firearms, historical documents. Books. Only books are a very sophisticated market, John. You can't just go and buy books. You really have to know your stuff. You really want expert advice. This episode is going to be 3 hours, isn't it? My God, we're an hour into it.
Okay. So
we're doing pretty good.
Let's move on. That was like, again, if someone finds something on Fatal Frame on where you can call out the differences a little better, please let us know and we will disseminate that information as well, because it's, people should know. You should know what you're buying, and you should know why one version of the game is $100. And honestly, I'm looking at I look at them and my eye does not immediately see why there's a $100 one and why there's a $44 copy sitting here. My brain does not know.
Good stuff.
And if you want the first print is Project Zero, not Fatal Frame. So everybody,
do you know that for a fact?
Print.
Because look,
I will
already
eat
been
my
wrong
hat
about
if Fatal Frame came out in America before Japan.
You don't wear hats.
Are you, Stefan? We're just talking about a music video that I made with a certain character.
Yeah, but who wears a hat? But Tyler doesn't wear a hat.
Tyler doesn't wear a hat. You're right.
TJ does not wear a hat.
Tej. Now we're gonna look it up. Here we go. December 13th, 2001 in Japan, and March 2002 in America. What a weird time to come out with a horror game. Christmas and then spring. Huh.
You know, like if you look at the classic release date of games, they did not do a very good job of like putting it into their markets at the right time.
Weird.
We've talked about this on this show before, like other games, like, why would you release this here? Like, you guys didn't learn anything from movies. Okay. Stefan, what's your third item?
Mickey's Magical Quest, or because I say that wrong every time. It's not Mickey's Magical Quest. There's no game called Mickey's Magical Quest. It's The Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse is the proper name of that game.
So hold on. First thing, why is this a Halloween game? Explain yourself.
I am drawing the costume change thread. If for people who haven't played it, it is indeed a magical quest starring Mickey Mouse, and throughout his magical quest, he takes on different roles, and when he does change roles or abilities, he changes physical costumes, and they are very costumey. There's like a genie-esque sort of Aladdin magician costume, and a firefighter, and it's all very cartoony and comical and awesome, so yeah, I drew because I was thinking about it, and I happened to be looking at it because I also recently purchased the cover art for Nintendo Power issue 44, which is the bonus issue with the fold out Mickey's Magical Quest cover, even though that's not the name of the game again. But yeah, so I was looking at that and was thinking about all the different costume changes that he makes, and so I'm saying that it's a Halloween game from the costume change aspect.
I'm with you. I don't disagree. I just wanted you to tell everybody else.
Sure. So this is a pretty affordable game. It is an amazing platformer, and you should play it if you haven't. But that means it's also more economical for the Super Nintendo. For a really minty copy, complete in box, you can get it between $60 and $100, which I think is pretty good for this market. And yeah, it's everybody should play that game. It's a fantastic platformer.
So let's talk about some lesser known things. Okay, there's actually 3 games in the series.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know this?
Two of which got releases here, right? We didn't get the third game, right?
No, that's Disney's Magical Quest 3 starring Mickey and Donald. But they are on the GBA, and this whole series is on the GBA. Very expensive on the GBA. Yeah, part 3 and I think part 2. Part 3 definitely is like over $100 usually and kind of hard to find. And part 2 is also rather difficult to find. So.
Tyler, you know what you should be buying right now?
I have no interest in Disney games. Sorry.
If this isn't on your list as a collectible and you do buy GBA games, you should put them on there. One, like Stefan said, it's a fun game. It's, you know, if you didn't get to play this on the Super Nintendo, it's great. The third one came out in Japan. There's translations of it all over the place. You can find a card if you want, but you can just buy a GBA copy. You can probably find the card a lot easier than you can find at CIB because it is hard to find on the GBA for the third one. So like if you want the cart only, like I see a cart only for like $70 on eBay, like with best offer. So that's just like where you're at. There's also Japanese copies of this as well that you can get for GBA if the language thing isn't an issue for you.
Yeah, I don't think it's not a big reader game as I recall.
No, but
so like you could probably flummox your way through it.
Even the basic game though, like, you know, Magical Quest starring Mickey and Minnie is still like a $40 game in box, $40, you know, for the GBA. So it's not just like, oh, let me go buy a $10 GBA card. And like it's a legitimately tough game to find in the box when you're looking for it. Like 2 you can kind of find, but 3 in the box is like, you know, it's tough. It's a tough find, and good luck if you find it, you know. So keep an eye out for both 2 and 3 on the GBA, or, you know, pick up the whole series. You can usually find the first one, but 2 and 3, tough. Tough games.
Ooh, yeah, 3. I'm looking at there's one copy right now on eBay. That's the, is this box and manual only? Is there even a game with this? Oh no, okay, it's a complete. So there's a one buy it now listing for the third game, the Super Famicom version for $100.
Oh,
And,
for Super Famicom, yeah.
Yeah. So even the Super Famicom version, you're not getting away super cheap on this one.
No, it's it was a very well liked series. And just so you know, the second version for Super Nintendo is the Great Circus Mystery. Just so you know, because I don't think they titled it Magical Quest, did they at all?
Well, I'm looking at the Japanese version, so I can't tell you.
Yeah, I don't think that it's just the Great Circus Mystery. So, anyways, things to pay attention to. It's a great series to own, super fun, and yeah, I'm with you on the costume ones. But yeah, the third one is also like a pretty fun game. So get out there and buy it.
And the first one on GBA, I guess I'll say, is one of the only games that uses the GameCube GBA link cable in a way that actually matters. I think it unlocks some multiplayer mini games. So that's kind of cool, because otherwise that cable is basically just Pokemon Coliseum.
Well, no, it's also Metroid Zero Mission. Or no,
you
Metroid
unlock
Fusion.
Metroid
Fusion.
in Metroid Prime, like whatever. That doesn't count as that's.
But
that's
for
like
Fusion, you get a special Prime suit in the game.
That's like cosmetic bullshit. Like, I mean, honestly, like multiplayer minigames, like who cares?
Okay.
But I don't think the cosmetic stuff, like all these little unlocks they give you are like, I don't know, it's like a prototype for DLC that doesn't matter for like cosmetic DLC.
It's true. Fair. It is kind of a prototype for DLC.
Yeah. Oh well. I liked it for the Animal Crossing was cool, but there was no GBA game you needed. You just get to basically unlock the island that gets you all the money in the original Animal Crossing by having this cable. Because Nintendo has been scamming us for 20 years, guys.
Oh yeah, that Nintendo has been nickeling and diming us forever, and it is one of Nintendo's worst aspects. Like, no lie, it's gross.
Yeah, like they do the same like EA does, and they package it up in like a much nicer way, and everyone's like, oh, but it's Nintendo, Pokemon, Mario, come on guys. Anyway, let's go play Mario Kart on our phones.
Yeah, but see, that's still like, if you're gonna resell me Super Mario, you're reselling me one of the best games ever made. You're not just like, oh, I guess if I want to change the number on my football player's uniform, I'm gonna pay him $2 or get the special yellow uniform. Like, what? Get out of here.
How about their special limited edition Mario 3D All-Stars that's so special and limited, it doesn't even come with a manual?
None of them come with, like, no
I
fucking
know,
Switch games come with
it's
manuals.
supposed to be special. The Wii one came in a big box. How about the special thing for this one is it comes with a f***ing manual?
Let's look. I'm going to agree with you on your rant, but let's save it for what are we buying, what are we playing? Because I'm sure one of us bought it. We'll be able to talk about it.
All right. Well, I mean, we all bought a sealed case, right?
Yeah. Bought a brick, so
Oh yeah, got a brick.
I'm going to go check on Piper. I'll be right back.
All right.
Okay. So, what is your game, Tyler?
I've got two games, which might as well be one game because they're so similar. Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the animated series Zapped, and Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the animated series Spooked for the Game Boy Color, a system I never talk about because the Game Boy Color may be the worst system ever made, in my opinion. Like the worst major system ever made.
Whoa.
I didn't even think that would be a controversial opinion.
Like, what are you considering a major system?
I would say over 1 million units.
So, like, a Virtual Boy is a
is
major...
that the Virtual Boy? I don't know how much a Virtual Boy sold.
I don't know.
5 million units. I bet Game Boy Color sold more than 5 million.
Probably.
It's a bad system with a bad library.
Why is it a bad system?
Because it came out in the late 90s without a backlight, and it has very few original good games besides some sequels like Pokemon and Harvest Moon. I don't know what's on Game Boy Color.
Yeah, so many ports. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know if you're being facetious or devil's advocate or like what you're doing right now because the Game Boy Color is garbage. Okay.
Devil's advocate right now.
So usually you could type Game Boy Color games into Google and it'll show you what it thinks the top games are. So let's just read them. Link's Awakening, a Game Boy game. No, go ahead, Johnny. What?
No, I was gonna say it does have Shantae. It's like there's some important games on the GBC. It's also to me, it's like still just a Game Boy. Like the real divide for me, it's like Game Boy and Game Boy Color are basically one thing, and then it's GBA.
Like I guess if you want to consider that way, but
that's how I
consider it its own thing.
I know that's not how it's like really. That's not how it was designed, but that's really what it is for me. Like I'm like, oh, this is just like they finally made it color because there wasn't like that big of a processor. Like the leap wasn't that great. And what you could do with the Game Boy Color compared to the Game Boy. I mean, that's not exactly true, but it wasn't like the leap from 8-bit to 16-bit.
Yeah. All Game Boy Color games are just super ugly, Johnny. Like their colors, they're just like the wrong colors. I don't know how to describe it. They're too colorful. They don't have enough colors. I don't know what it is.
Well, it's just got probably a weird color palette.
Yeah. And Shantae, you can't say like Shantae makes the Game Boy Color good. First of all, it's one game. I don't like it. Like anything in the top 20 games, just throw it out. Every single console on planet Earth has a top 20 games that all seem amazing. What determines whether a console is good is after you chop off those top 20 games, how does the rest of the console look?
Well, here's what I'll say. And this is like it's become the Collector's Quest measuring stick. The GBC has a few 10s, and that is real.
Does it? I don't.
Zelda, Oracle, and
I guess like Link's Awakening. Yeah, it's a 10, but it's an updated version. Like Pokemon Yellow. Yeah, it's a 10, but it's an updated version.
But
I haven't played Shantae, so I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, look, even if it has one, that's like saying more than the Dreamcast. Suck it, Dreamcast fans. That's a shot at you.
Boom.
Get you.
Got him. Get him. Have we talked about how I came around on Dreamcast and I like it now because I realized that it's the only console where over half the games are 60 FPS?
I'm sorry, what? Gross.
Oh, wait, what do we... I'm waiting for Stefan to come back when I'm supposed to be talking about Sabrina games.
Yep.
Because Stefan wasn't here. Anyway.
No, you tangented real hard about what a piece of shit GBC is.
God, Game Boy Color, just garbage. So Game Boy has all of these ports of NES games, but like they're secretly pretty good unique games, and a lot of them aren't straight ports. Game Boy Color has all these ports of popular games, but they're garbage versions of like 3D console games. Anyway, off track, we're going to talk about Sabrina the Animated Series on Game Boy Color. Why are we going to talk about that? Because it was made by WayForward. Do you know what's an expensive Game Boy Color WayForward game about a magical girl, Wendy Every Which Way? Do you know an expensive WayForward game about a magical girl on Game Boy Color? Shantae.
Shantae.
Do you know two more not expensive WayForward games about magical girls on Game Boy Color? The Sabrina the Teenage Witch games. It's so weird because people love the other WayForward games. And these, all right, I haven't played these, but they seem like completely fine, polished games. They have a very similar graphic style to the other games. So, why not buy them? If you already have Wendy Every Which Way and you already have Shantae, why don't you complete your WayForward Game Boy Color collection with Sabrina the Animated Series 1 and 2, as well as I think they did WWF Attitude. So make sure you have that in your picture when you post on Instagram.
WayForward.
I would say that's definitely a better buy than, say, buying Shantae, the GBC version that, I don't know, Limited Run Games is going to sell you.
That is a much better thing to buy. A real, like, a game that's, like, vintage and, like from the olden days of at least 20 years ago? I don't think
people who are saying, like, this Shantae thing is, like, a good thing because people can finally play it. And, like, you don't have me with you. I like.
All right. Okay. You know what? Say that, like, when you respond to them, like, yeah, all right, post it. When you get yours, open it and then put it in your Game Boy and post a picture on Instagram for me. Well, I'm going to ruin my investment into the remake of Shantae. Not the remake, the reissue even.
Yeah, I'm super not into this phenomenon of them just, like, making repros and selling them and people being suddenly cool with it because it's good and it'll drive the cost down. Like, is that something we want? Like, is this the way we want? I'll take
the
Fatal Frame games?
I'm all
Like,
about that. Whatever.
Like,
you want to
the Fatal
remake
Frame
garbage
games,
and let me get
whatever.
the real stuff? Sure.
Yeah. Fatal Frame
But,
games were like reprints while the console was still current. Like, that's one thing. That's just a late print to me. This is like 20, 30 years later, and you're like, here, let's drive the cost down. Like, that's gross. That's like,
I don't think it's going to drive the cost down because it's two completely different markets. Like,
I don't think so either. And like collectibles have long shown that reprints, like, they might have a small impact on the price initially, but overall it just creates interest in the property, which then creates hype, which then actually creates more demand, which then drives the cost back up. So,
I don't want to badmouth the people buying the Shantae stuff too bad, because I guarantee there are people who listen to the show that are way into the Shantae stuff. And it does come with like collector's edition stuff, which I don't give a shit about. Maybe you're like the world's biggest Shantae fan and you need all the buttons and pins and all that coins, whatever comes with it.
I've bought all the Shantae games, not the reissues, but like I don't buy the special edition, but all the ones that came out for the Switch, except for one I missed, which is now $100. Makes me feel bad, but I think it's the one that's on the Wii U. Yeah.
There's a Switch Shantae game that's $100?
Yeah, it makes me real sad.
It's a new one?
Yep. No, it was like the first one for the Switch.
But it was like an original game or was it like a remake of the Wii U one?
I think it was actually the one that was on the Wii U.
Oh my god. People
But Shantae games are usually like fun, so I don't mind owning them, and they're buy way forward. I am not begrudging you buying from Limited Run for that. Like, please buy those games. They're fun games, and if you like them, great. But the reissue stuff like that, there's better things to spend your money on than fake games. Just go buy any repro. If you just want to play it, it's just a repro. Go buy a $10 one off of eBay and call it good. If that's what you're going to spend on, you're just buying a repro. I don't care that Limited Run did it. It's still a shitty repro.
Hey, Tyler.
Hey.
Fun fact. Matt Bozon listens to this show.
Whoa, who's that? Because
So
I don't
there you
remember.
He the creator of Shantae.
Oh, okay, good, because I wouldn't know that. Oh, hey, Matt Bozon. I'm sorry I haven't played your game. It looks cool. I like platformers. I've just never got around to it. You want to send me a copy? I'll play it.
Yeah,
You're terrible.
Yeah.
Just get... What else you got to say about these games? How much
No,
are
we
they?
got
Tell
nothing.
Tell us about Sabrina.
Literally, it's a semi-non-linear platformer. Matt Bozon would be able to describe it way better because I've also never played them. I just think they look cute and that it makes sense to buy them if you're into all this way forward stuff, because they're Spooked is available from Deal Tavern. It's $35 shipped. You can get a brand new copy.
You should buy that.
Yeah.
That's a perfectly good game to buy, especially to have sealed right now. I mean, the show, I think, is ending or did end. It's 3 or 4 seasons. I know it had 3. I don't know if it's getting its 4th or not, but it was on Netflix. Pretty dark. You know, one of the fun things that I like to tell people, Sabrina is an Archie character, so she's from that universe. You know, it's there was definitely, you know, a good reason to own this game aside from it just being from Way Forward. It's part of a prominent series, and Sabrina also had a sweet comic that the new show on Netflix was based off of. Really quite awesome. I like it quite a bit.
So Zapped. So Spooked you could find all day. That's like sealed. It's cheap. It's no problem. Zapped, I've actually been looking for a month or two, and I haven't even seen it come up complete in box. But the last sale was in May. Someone had a case of, I believe, 6 sealed copies, and they went for like $25. So I don't know. Like, I've been looking for this. I would have paid much more than $25 if one came up, because I wasn't even looking at historical prices. And I can't find one. So maybe an interesting game to keep your eye on or snap up when you can see it come up. That is I want it, but you know what? Just go buy it instead of me, and I'll make me feel bad about it. Post it on Instagram. Also, perhaps interesting, Zapped was the first game. Came out in 2000. Sabrina Spooked came out in 2001, which is easily available new old stock. Shantae came out in 2002, which there has been some new old stock, but not a ton, I don't think. Where are those Shantaes at, Johnny? How come there's not a lot of new old stock Shantae? Is Deal Tavern holding out on us?
I think no, because when they reissued, when they were like redoing it, when Shantae was coming back, I think Way Forward, like because they're biased, I think they had a few that they did special that were sealed, but I don't know if Shantae got like that big of an order, and it was towards the end of the GBC's life cycle.
Yeah,
So,
and it's a different publisher. Shantae is published by Capcom. I don't know if that affects. I don't know how anything with game publishing works. I don't know how games are physically made and sent out. I am just saying this as a almost joke.
yeah. All right. I think that's a good choice. Like, especially, that you can get spooked for $35. Like, get on that. Go buy
Sealed
that
games, guys. They're all going to be super rare and valuable.
Yeah, make
go
yourself a
grade your
millionaire.
Sabrina Spooked.
Yeah, make that money. Tell those investors to suck it when you sell them this sealed game. Yeah.
So buy it, grade it, and then put it on eBay from the creators of Shantae in the top. And then everyone who looks for Shantae everyone who looks for Wada Shantae will find your Wada graded Sabrina game. And maybe you'll get someone to pay you like $200 for it. It works with the GTA triple pack. Just use psychological games.
Tyler's joking, but he's also like 100% not wrong. And that's like kind of real advice. You should do that. Okay. So, are we ready for me to go?
Go ahead.
All right. This is not like the most expensive game. It's pretty accessible. It is collectible, and I'll explain myself. Simpson, Treehouse of Horror, and that's not its actual name. So it's Simpsons Treehouse, or Simpsons Attack of the Treehouse of Horror for the Game Boy Color. So this game is about $35. You can find it in a box. It is not like an incredibly hard game or anything. There's nothing like rare about this game. Here's why it's collectible. Because Simpsons collectors are, around, and Simpsons has a super long history. Maybe you're not aware that Simpsons is probably older than most of our audience. So this is like, you have a large swath of people. Treehouse of Horror is a long-running thing that people look forward to every year. There are crossover collectors that just collect Simpsons stuff that went out and got this thing. It's its own unique story-ish. It's like 7 different levels or something, and each level is kind of like its own mini game, so it's not very repetitive. It does put nods to some of the earlier episodes. This came out in 2001, just so you know. So all the ones before that, it like has the ability to put a little nod to it. It's also like rooted right there in nostalgia. It's a popular property. It has the ability, aside from being on the Game Boy Color, which is probably the biggest downside to this title, of people getting excited about it. Again, I look at games, and I'm trying to look at collecting as the market exists right now. And right now the market is full of investors, and they drive the price of games that collectors will one day be looking for. And if they ever decide that they're going to go into a system, and I don't think really Game Boy Color is something they're ever going to go hard at, they'll maybe go at the Shantaes and the Resident Evils. But if they're looking for other stuff, and they're looking for a popular title with crossover, it also has, tons of comics and stuff. Simpsons is that thing. Simpsons is just a multi-generational property that spans many different media types, that has crossover appeal for a ton of different collectors. And for $35, you can buy yourself a nice box copy, $35, $50. Get it, put it out of your way, and it's a sweet Halloween game if it's something you're looking to play. Like, if you like Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, this offers you a variety of gameplay for relatively low investment costs. And, if you've got a GBA, and most of you do, or like an early DS, you can play a GBC game or a Game Boy player on your, GameCube. Any of these things will work. So it's not even that hard to play. Like, a lot of old systems, you're like, how will I ever play this game? GBC stuff, it's actually pretty accessible. So, you can do it and it'll look okay. So yeah, pick up Simpsons Attack of the Treehouse of Horror if you have not already.
All right, Johnny, I've got a lot of comments here.
Go ahead.
First of all, I believe the title is Simpsons Night of the Living Treehouse of Horror, or is there a different game?
No, that's right. Okay, I was trying to do Night. It's not Attack. Night of the
Okay, and I know there's some people who collect Simpsons games. I will say, regardless of quality, of which I think the Simpsons games are usually a little underrated. I do enjoy the few that I've played.
Hit and Run is a game that's been moving up in price lately. Like, there's Simpsons games are trending up in cost. So this.
They definitely, because licensed stuff, people just want I know that. Like I think Bar vs. the Space Mutants, fine game.
No, no, that's like it has a good arcade property. Like these aren't bad games. Simpsons games are usually like pretty good. Like especially for a big licensed property, you get a surprisingly pretty good game.
Yeah. Simpsons Arcade only ported to home computers by the PC version of The Simpsons. Only way you're going to play it, guys. PC collecting is real. I was going to say that most Simpsons games, they have that very distinctive art style, so their box art's usually really good. The box art for this game is awful, Johnny. How is there a Treehouse of Horror game that doesn't show the actual treehouse? It's just all the Simpsons characters screaming in a circle. And no, not all the Simpsons characters, literally just the Simpsons.
Yeah, it's not the best art, but I wouldn't go as far as to say it's terrible. It's got them screaming. It's got the lightning bolt. It looks fine.
No, it's pretty. I mean, no, it's bad. If it's a game about the Treehouse of Horror, I don't like it. My final thought is that this was made, I noticed, by Software Creations, which they made some decent NES games, but I think most famously for me, they're the company that is known for ruining Blaster Master by creating my beloved Blaster Master 2. So maybe I should check this out because I do like Blaster Master 2.
You know, like I said, if you haven't played this game, it's unique because it's not like one game. It's like several games because each level gives you kind of a different gameplay style. So it's definitely something to check out. It's one of the few portable games I've actually played all the way through, and I like it very much. You know, it's not amazing. I'm not like, this is a 10. But it's very much on theme for the season, and you could do a lot worse.
Can't wait to see you post it on Instagram next month, or this month, considering when we edit the show.
I wonder if I've never posted it before.
Johnny, I'm going to give you a little secret, and that secret is you don't care.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I mean, I usually try not to double post unless it's like
I know you don't.
theme.
But
like
for especially for those Collector's Quest promo picks, you've done some reposting, and you're just like, you know what? That's just called being smart, Tyler. You're an idiot. You spend too much time on this stuff. I just post this and get 500 likes for posting the big shelf of games.
Well, here's the secret with the Collector's Quest stuff. Because we put Collector's Quest on it, it gets way less likes, and the algorithm filters it out.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if there's a way around that.
It's only if we had someone here on this show who was good at self-promotion, who could get out there and really talk about the show a bunch. Stefan,
wake up. We're talking to you.
Except for all the podcasts that I talk about our podcast on.
That you mentioned briefly that you're on. Look, I've listened to all of them. You mentioned us once or twice.
Briefly?
Briefly.
All right. Sure.
I bet we mentioned Retronauts more than they mention us.
I'm just saying, if you were talking about Red the Game Shark on their thing, you would give them a much better promotion. There you go. Stefan, you're the famous one now. You need to carry the load. You need to go and tell the Facebooks.
On Region Free Gamers podcast, I talked about Tyler specifically, and then I swung back around and talked about our show.
I know. I listened to your whole episode because I'm good like that.
And then when we came back from breaks, I think both times they said Stefan Reese of the Collector's Quest podcast.
They mentioned us. I'm just telling you, you're famous. You got to go out there and work hard. Just saying, look, people want your body right now. They're just they might have to put our logo on their next step. That's all I'm saying. If they want to keep stealing our content.
Nice. I see.
Yeah. All right. That's why we pay you the big bucks, Stefan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All that Patreon money is going to me.
Yeah. All the $0, the negative
the
dollars.
Zeros and zeros.
No, it's actually worse because it's negative because this show only costs money. But hey,
if I had all that Patreon money and the $100 that Tyler stole from me, then I would have $100.
Yeah, that is true. But you're still going to get that $100. So you will. So there you go. You just got paid. Cool. Get out there and do it. No, Patreon coming soon. Seriously though. You have anything else you want to say about Simpsons, or do you agree with the rest of it?
Nope. Let's move on.
Okay, cool. Stefan, that's you. What's your last game? What's the last one you got?
Super Mario World. Woo! Let's do
God.
Nope.
Come on.
Well, you meant Luigi's Mansion?
No. Actually, so my last one, we as we alluded to earlier, is another medieval game, but it's the medieval PS1 demo, which Johnny actually cued me in on this evening. And I really enjoy this the demo, the way that it's presented. It's got some great art on it, and it's a fold out. How would you describe it? Like a ticket, Johnny?
Yeah, it's kind of like a ticket.
this?
It's like a ticket to Halloween.
Yeah, it's really cool. And it can be had. It seems to be relatively rare, but can still be had between $40 and $50.
And you should say that there's multiple demos for Medieval on PS1. This is like a very specific one that's like before the game came out. It's not a magazine demo. It's its own thing.
Yep. Standalone.
I'm looking now.
demo.
I see 4 demo discs that have Medieval on them, and none of them are the one you're talking about. How many demo discs were there in the 90s?
It got a lot.
I don't even remember this.
I mean, I think packaging demos with like CD demos with like magazines was all of the effing rage in the PS1 generation, right? So yeah. There are many demos for pretty much everything of that generation.
Yeah, but there's like the PlayStation, like Getting the Zone disc, that comes in like a standard like demo flap. There's like it's in a jam pack one, but this one is I think it's in the Pizza Hut demo disc too.
Yeah.
But this one is like
this was mailed to you. Oh, what?
Yeah, it's a mailer.
Yeah, this is like it's like it's not just a demo, but it's an invite to come and play this game. It's very cute. I like it a lot.
Is it supposed to fold up and like turn into a display case, or is that just how the people on eBay are showing them off?
I think that's just how people are showing them.
All right.
Yeah, it's like a pull out, almost not. It's not a pop up book, but it's almost like presented that way, where it's got like push tabs. Maybe it is supposed to fold up like that. I'll know when it gets here because I bought one.
Yeah, it does have like little places to push up, but yeah, it's the thing that also makes it like super Halloween is it says trick or treat on it. It's like trick or treat, look inside in this mailer. So that's like the coolest part about it, really. So. And it's part of the PlayStation Underground demos that were out. So this was after the game was already out. So it was, I think, an additional sales push. So anyways, you can look for that. It's like a cool look. It's something you could go spend $40 to $50 on if you wanted to. If you like Medieval.
Like 4 of them sold in the past month, and then there's 3 more loose ones on eBay. So seems like you'd probably be able to find one if you really wanted one.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely comes up like pretty easily. Like Tyler, you missed out on a great auction, about 2 weeks ago where it was Medieval 1 and 2 and this demo for $100.
No, I didn't miss out on that because I don't care about the demo. That doesn't help me meet my collecting goals, Johnny. Neither does Medieval 1 and Medieval 2. That just kind of falls into my goal of having good games.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I will say, if you are totally into medieval stuff, if you like medieval as much as we do here on the podcast, the Japanese version that Stefan was saying, like the Japanese cover is the sweetest cover.
It is
like
very
100%
cool.
The sweetest cover. Like,
but my real fourth game is Super Mario World.
Oh boy, here we go. All right,
I mean, every Mario game ends with you going to hell, more or less. So maybe.
So when you beat Super Mario, or no, it's when you get all of the exits, right? In Super Mario World, that's when you get all of the exits and beat it.
Star Road, right? Everything through Star Road,
yeah.
and all the exits.
Yeah. Then you get sort of a repay or a reskin when you play again, and it's all chocolate themed, except for like inexplicably. The piranha plants are now jack-o'-lantern heads, and that's what I was razzing Johnny about before.
All right, I'm with you.
No,
Yeah.
like
So I was against you originally because I totally forgot about that. Because literally every time I beat Super Mario World, I just delete my save file. I boot it up again. I'm like, oh, this shit, and then I just delete it and do it again. But all right, I forgot about the pumpkin piranha plants.
Yeah, I've tempted
Halloween game.
tempted Tyler over to my side on this one, Johnny.
Yep.
I'm actually with you. I just have to tell you that it's not a Halloween game, but it's got a Halloween theme. Like you can get to a Halloween moment in it. I'm for that.
And, now I'm thinking about it because I was like, well, the Koopa masks or the Mario masks aren't really Halloween, and then I was thinking about, I mean, they're just the fact that they're wearing masks is Halloweeny.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it's a long running tradition in Mario games. After you like complete the game in some fashion, like some specific fashion, you find like reskinned enemies, new, they do like some special stuff for you beating the game. That's always a nice touch when a game does it. And also, if we can't recommend Super Mario World highly enough, then like, what are we doing? Like, yeah, there's another way for us to talk about Super Mario World. Yeah, cool. I don't recommend you make that the picture of your Halloween post and be like, this is a Halloween game without some explanation. But, I think you're right that you can put that on there. It's also Super Mario World. Why is it collectible, Stefan?
Well, okay. The standalone black box edition is incredibly collectible. Tyler's done more research on this than I have. Tyler, do you want to talk about like the various revisions of this game?
There's
one
two.
line?
Well, there's three black. Oh my god, I'm not even going to talk about cartridges. There's a lot of cartridge variants. We talked about the misprint on the show already.
Yep.
All right. There's a cool misprint. The big thing we've also talked about. There's two different black boxes. The easy way to tell is if you look on the back of the box, one of them has larger text for like for use in Canada, US, and Mexico. One of them has smaller text. There's a bunch of little differences like that. I don't think there's a big price difference, so just make sure you don't want the Canadian one, and you probably want the first print one in this market. I can't imagine there's a huge premium for it yet, because I don't think they're just like, oh, I need a black box Mario. So get the good one. And,
but if you just want to play it, it was also for
you could pay $8
for the theoretical person who may not know that it was packed in forever. With the SNES, it was packed in with the SNES, so it's very cheap if you just want to play it.
Or you can play it by just having the Nintendo Pass on your Switch, or having a Super Nintendo Mini, or 100 other ways.
You can walk outside of your house right now and pick up a rock and throw it, and you will hit a copy.
It is not a hard game to play. It is. Unlike some games on this list, mainly ones Tyler talked about, super accessible.
Yes.
So when we did this So You Want to Collect Super Nintendo episode, I basically went down a rabbit hole on when the Black Box Mario was released, and I posted like kind of my research on Video Game Sage. Did we ever talk about that on the show?
No, we didn't, because we were going to do a revision episode because we didn't do the player's choice stuff, but we might as well get it out of the way. And
I think it's funny that we're going to talk about it on like a rando Halloween episode. But go ahead.
The Halloween game, Super Mario World, which we all agree now is a Halloween game.
Yeah.
So we did say originally that Black Box Super Mario World is the first print, which it very much is not, because every Super Nintendo originally was a superset, which all came with Super Mario World.
Correct.
And then in June of 1992 is when they announced the Control Set, which is the Super Nintendo that did not have Super Mario World bundled in with it. I have done a whole lot of research going through Usenet and going through pretty much every catalog I could find: JCPenney, Toys R Us, EB Games, Sears. So the Control Set and the Super Mario World individually release appear at the same time in catalogs, and people on Usenet mention them around the same time. I am almost positive that the Black Box Super Mario World was released between June and July of 1992. It could have been released up to September of 1992 when I'm positive it was out. But there you go. That's when Black Box Super Mario World came out. It's not a very special historically version of the game, but it is a very, very cool version.
Well, but see, the thing is, the cart that you were going to get in the Super Nintendos was still in the first box, right? Because it was still the non-revision box, or the non-revision cart. So they basically reprinted that cart. So you still get the first print of the game. It's still, the cartridge is the same cartridge.
Well, You say
Depending
that,
which-
but what I want to do is I want to find the earliest date code that's printed on a Super Mario Kart, because I guarantee the ones that came in the original Super sets are not the same date codes as the ones that were in the black boxes.
Well,
Super Mario Kart.
Hey, you're not supposed to talk about date codes. Remember, no one wants to hear about date codes.
They don't want to hear about the box date codes, but I think people still might care about chip date codes. I want to find a Super Mario World that was printed in 1990. Give me it.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't care. I'll just go for like maybe the Super Famicom version I should go for. Johnny, I don't know. What is game collecting anymore? Are we going to go? Am I going to go look at Super Mario World date codes, or am I just going to be happy with my black box and forget it exists?
Do that one.
Okay.
That's the one to do, like 100%.
Wait, if that was my first game, did we do it? Or my fourth game? Did we do it? Did we do
No,
the thing?
because Tyler still has one and I still have one.
And that's all we have to say about Super Mario World. Not a very interesting game. Anyway, back to Alice in Interactive Museum for the PC.
You want to tell us about your last game, Tyler?
Do you want to tell us about my last game? Because it's Transylvania for the Apple II and like every other mid-'80s home computer, which Johnny recommended that I do, which is very strange. Johnny, why did you recommend this to me?
Because I looked it up and I looked at the game and immediately said, man, this is like a shitty old PC game that's like a lot of text and fiddly and hard to play and it's totally Halloween. And I bet Tyler would love this.
I do love it. So actually, in the past couple years, I have been dabbling in collecting tools that have been used in game development for vintage computers, which I understand is not very interesting, not something people want to talk about. But this game was made by Penguin Software, who made some of the tools that I have purchased for my collection, like Magic Paintbrush, the complete graphics system, and the Graphics Magician, which was the graphics software used to make Penguin Software's first game, Transylvania, which I also recently purchased. So it's a pretty standard adventure game, not point and click, text adventure game. But it has graphics, which is somewhat novel for the time. So Mystery House came out in 1980, which is really the first graphical adventure game that everyone points to. And this came out in 1982. But also Zork. Zork was on like PDP mainframes and stuff, but like the popular Zork releases also came out in the early 80s. So this is pretty early on in graphical adventures. It has great graphics. I've never played.
It looks awesome.
It looks cool.
Did you buy a copy?
Yeah, I've got a copy.
Oh, you already have a copy of this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've already got a copy. That's why I was so surprised. Like, why would you tell me to pick Transylvania on the Apple II? What a like obscure game to go after.
Right? You were like pretty proud of me in that moment. You're like, holy shit, he does listen.
Absolutely. It's also it's like one of these games that you have to beat in a certain time limit. You have to go rescue a princess from a castle, and if you don't do it in a certain amount of real time, you just lose, because adventure games in the early 80s were fun. Losing because you didn't type your text fast enough, and the text processor wasn't like, don't know how to look at something. Probably a lot of fun. I'm sure Look At is a bad example.
It does have a sequel too. Don't forget the sequel.
It's got 2 sequels.
Oh, 2 of them.
Yeah.
What are the sequels?
So I don't know what the sequels are. Some people say the first one's the best. Some people say the last one's the best, but I don't care about the sequels.
It's the Crimson Crown. And
cool.
I don't know what the other one is.
Cool.
That's as far as my research went on those, because I was like, this is a Halloween game I may buy one day because it's got a sweet box. The box for Transylvania is awesome.
Yeah, and it's called Transylvania, which is just a cool name for a game.
Yes, exactly. And I love getting vampire stuff. Just like so nerdy. I'm like, like I'm making fun of those vampire LARPers. I think it's because I secretly didn't have the courage to LARP myself. I didn't have the confidence to be out there pretending to be a vampire.
That's probably it,
true.
Johnny.
Yeah, that's not true. But I did, like always as a kid, think vampires were cool. I dressed up as Dracula a shit ton. I love Castlevania. That wasn't an accident or anything. So the minute I saw a game called Transylvania, I was like, why am I just learning about this? And I slipped in a game that's coming out, I guess, towards 2021, but I can't remember, like the Vampires of Wallachia. That's not the right title, but it has Wallachia. If you don't know where Wallachia is, it's basically where Transylvania is. It's big part of the vampire lore for Dracula. Anyways, check it out. if you don't know. Also, a really good book called The Historian, which it's kind of like a vampire, a quest to find Dracula in modern times. Good book. Check it out. What else you guys say? It's like, what does this game run? About $100?
Wow, that sounds really high to me, Johnny. So there's 2 releases. There's an original release, which probably the one you want, and then they remade it in their newer engine in the mid 80s. So the original one comes in a full art box, and the re-release comes in a box with like a white border around it.
Gross looking.
I don't understand why when they re-release PC games, they always put it in a much, much uglier box that just looks super budget in every way. I would say just get the original. I paid $40 for mine. I put down 40 to 80, but that was off the top of my head. I probably wouldn't pay $100 for it. I don't think it's $100 worth of collectible. I do have one more piece of trivia, which isn't related to Transylvania, but I will literally never have a chance to say it again. So the Graphics Magician, one of these pieces of graphics software I bought, actually the graphics software used to make Transylvania. It is a graphics program. It uses like a vector-like language to save your images. So it actually redraws your images in real time. It's not like a bitmap. And the interesting thing about that, which I have packed away in my brain because I knew to you guys I would need to justify my purchase of this piece of software, is that it was used to make the early one of Al Lowe's first games, Dragon's Keep, which was then later re-released by Sierra Online, which you may have heard of. And just to be clear, Al Lowe was the guy who made Leisure Suit Larry games. So Graphics Magician, I don't know. I think it's a kind of cool thing to own. Old Apple II software basically cost nothing, so why not?
All right, if that's how you feel about it.
Kind of historically interesting. Probably a lot more historically interesting to own Dragon's Keep, which I imagine is like one of those weird Apple II games that probably cost you over $500 and came in a plastic bag. But you could buy the software used to make it for $20. How about that?
I'm going to give you some more.
How does owning Graphics Magician further your collecting goals?
It doesn't. This was absolutely one of the things I purchased when I'm just like, oh boy, I finished the SNES set. What do I do? Well, I've been buying a lot of Apple II stuff. Oh, let's buy some Apple II graphics software. I don't know.
Maybe I could get into this. This seems all right, guys?
Ooh.
I will say this also comes on, and I'm going to get this wrong, but the Atari XE. So there is a cartridge version of Transylvania available for the Atari.
Are there
XE.
people who only buy cartridges?
It makes a very specific difference, right? Because you can find this on like the 3/4 floppy. You can find it in various formats, but this one is like the Atari XE cartridge, and it makes sure that to tell you that it is a computer cartridge game, and it's the rarest version probably of the game. So if you can find that one in the box, that's actually the most collectible, or like who knows collectible, but like the hardest one to find. Like Atari XE stuff just isn't very common at all. So if you can find the cart, that's hard. If you can find the cart with the box and everything, that's, remarkable.
Remarkable.
So.
All right. I didn't even know that. But it's just like, it's like the regular Atari 8-bit version. It just says a hard Atari home computer on it. Does it have a cool box?
Yes.
So the thing I don't know if worry is the right word. Like that seems like the kind of thing that Atari guys would just be unable to sell. And there's some guy with just like a warehouse of those. Like literally, I know people talk about like, oh, what if there's a warehouse of stadium events? Like Atari stuff specifically, there are guys who have like old 8-bit Atari stuff that are just going to die. And
there really are warehouses that like we know of.
Yeah. I would say buy the Apple II version, not the stupid Atari version.
I'm going to disagree. Agree to disagree.
Right. That's
agree
cool.
to disagree. But like really, you should, like if you want one, just buy one with a cool box. Don't buy the windowed box one. Whatever you do. I don't know why this thing is like when something becomes a budget title, they're like, let's put the box art in a tiny little window and make it look like garbage.
Don't get it. Doesn't make sense.
Don't do that. Stop it. All right. Anyways, that's a cool game you can go find. Boom. I was like really happy that Tyler knew what that game was. My last game is another like off the wall one for me. And this is Friday the 13th, the computer game. So, and this is for a few different systems, even though it's called the computer game. You can buy it on the Commodore 64, you can buy it on the ZX Spectrum, and you can buy it on the Amstrad. So these are like, it's pretty obscure. It's hard to find. The ZX Spectrum one, totally easy. Got awful art on it. You can pay $25 for that if you want to get it. You're going to have to like open it, your search up to worldwide on eBay to find that, but you can buy it. It's not a big deal. No problem. The Amstrad version is the hardest one to find complete. You can find like a disc of it. It's about, give me anywhere from $50 to $100. The one I like best is the Commodore 64 one. And I think the Amstrad version also had this, but it had the sweetest pack-in I've like ever seen in a game. And I don't know why this even exists, but it has foaming blood capsules that it came with. Like,
Gross.
what?
Stop.
What is this? Like, what? It came with a little package and it says foaming blood capsules. You're like, why would they include, like, so you can pretend to die while playing Friday the 13th? It's like so bizarre and
It's
awesome.
not a feely, it's a tasty.
Like, I like, there was one that sold with the blood capsules like a month ago, and I found out about this late and missed it by like 2 days and was so sad when I found out about it. So by the time you guys hear, like a month and a half, 2 months. But I'm going to look for these blood capsules forever, never find them. Just never, ever. But yeah, also the cover on it is pretty cool. There's some variants of the cover even for the Commodore one. So check it out. The Commodore one, also, it looks like a tape. Like if you aren't familiar with the ZX Spectrum, and why would you be? Or I should say ZX Spectrum, right?
You
Better
should say
get it
that.
right, Johnny.
Yeah. So like, I've got to remember European ZX Spectrum. They came on like cassettes, like that you would put into your computer, but they look like just like old school cassettes. So don't be like, that's not a game. It is. So you could very easily confuse it as not. But
Yeah, dummy.
yeah, it's awesome.
You damn kids, get off my lawn. You weren't loading your games off audio cassettes.
You
Yeah.
weren't either.
Dude, I never was. Absolutely not.
Yeah. So it's got like a sweet cover. It's got like the original Friday the 13th like art with the mask and the blood and the knife through the eye. Like, this cover is so good, except for the ZX Spectrum, which looks like somebody's like 12-year-old cousin was like, I could draw a Jason mask floating in the sky. It's terrible. Go look at it. It's like, it's times like this I wish we were recording so I could just show you a picture of how dumb this is. But
We should start doing a video version of this podcast.
who would edit that? Not Tyler.
We did. We wouldn't. That would could be a Patreon thing, and then we could just
okay.
put it out there.
All right. Anyways, so go ahead and check that out if you haven't. It's a game like I didn't really know about because I like pretty much all my Halloween stuff like stayed on the console, but I was like, I want to diversify the Halloween collection, get some like weird stuff out there. And I was looking through and I found this Friday the 13th and I was like, man, this thing is awesome. So I hope you think it's awesome too. I haven't bought mine yet. So let's create my own competition. Let's fight for these blood capsules. Or if you have some blood capsules and you want to sell them to me from this game, and you are a weirdo who owns this, please sell it to me. I would like to buy it.
That's how you do that. That's leverage the podcast, Johnny.
Yeah, I don't know how many people on the podcast are like, yeah, I've got a bunch of Commodore 64 stuff. Maybe they do. I don't know. I don't know what you guys have. I bet you guys got a bunch of cool stuff lying around and you've been like, Johnny hates this kind of shit. I don't want to tell him about it. And remember, if it's even loosely tied to Halloween, I'm like, yes, I will spend weird money on it. Why am I buying foreign Virtual Boy games? Who knows? Halloween knows. That's who. All right. And that's 12 games, 12 Halloween games. It's actually a little more than that.
Whew.
But I'm going to give
Johnny,
you one bonus
I do want to
one.
say that Friday the 13th comes with there's a cassette and a disc version for the Commodore, and they both are red, so they will stand out.
Yeah, they do.
Put them with your Maximum Carnage and Doom set. Everybody on Instagram, go buy. It's part of the red media that's not normally red set. That's a pretty important set.
True. Yeah, you should get that. Make sure you're getting some N64 games too, because that's got some red ones.
All-Star Baseball 2000, is that one?
Dude, I don't know.
That's a good one in the red
garbage.
set.
Yeah. We should make that a real
Collector's
set.
Quest Colors.
We should do that
You
one.
should save this for the Collector's Quest Colored Red episode.
We're definitely doing it now. It's going to be one of our Flesh with Plush like episodes. We're going to promise it for 2 years. Then one day it'll just come out. It'll be great.
I'm putting it on the ideas list.
Collector's Quest colors. Coloring with Collector's Quest. Part of the Crayola series. All right. The bonus game time. So this is like a dumb game, and it is for the 360. So Xbox 360, you may know that you can download Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Whoa, weird. What did you know? Yeah, did you know that you can also get a disc version of this game if you buy the Konami Classics Volume 1? It's part of the 3-pack. It's the top one. It also comes with Super Contra and Frogger. Whoa. But also this game is weirdly $45 to $50. And sells consistently and isn't for a system like the Xbox 360, which there's just a ton of, every game is made and there's a ton of them and you can find them everywhere. This one isn't that common. Yes, fairly common. You can still find it pretty easily, but in comparison to the other games on the system, kind of hard to find. So yeah, take a look out and Konami Classics. You want to complete that Castlevania collection. Here's like a hidden little gem for you to go out and get Konami Classics, so you can have that Symphony of the Night boxed if you want to spend $45 on something dumb. I'm not saying I would do that. I definitely did that, but it's something you should do.
Nope.
All right. There.
Also,
there
you
it
said
is.
it comes with like a disc. It is one disc. It's like a compilation.
Yeah.
There's a volume 2 as well.
There's
those assholes.
Yeah, and that
so they've got Contra, but they're like, we can't give away Contra on the first one. Put Super Contra on there.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's the
second one
arcade
is like
versions
Russian
that came
Attack,
out on
right?
Xbox 360. Yeah, and it has Russian Attack too. But they're all the arcade ones. Because I remember they're like, oh, Contra's coming on 360. And then I looked at it and I'm like, nah, that's not Contra.
No, it's much worse than the NES version. All right, so that's the Halloween episode. That's one of them. We got another one planned for you. Woo! Got through it. And we talked about a lot of ancillary stuff, and I think we had a really interesting spectrum of games here to talk about. Some interesting
I wasn't even really sold about Super Mario World being a Halloween game, but by the end of it, I sold myself.
Nice.
Good, yeah.
That's what Collector's Quest is here for. We can, while we're teaching people other things, we can learn something about ourselves, Stefan.
That's right.
All right. That was very much you guys having a hug. Cool. Let's go ahead and move into the second part of the show. Good thing Stefan doesn't have anything he needs to talk about now, since we already got that out of the way.
I mean, I got more stuff to talk about.
No, you don't. Shut up. You're done. Nice.
That's fine.
Nice
He
times
loves
for you.
it, Johnny. I hate that he loves it.
I know.
He has no shame.
No, he absolutely, you didn't know this about him? Dude has, I have no shame. He has less than me. That's gross.
That's true. That's right.
So-
Shame is not a value that I have.
Yes, so we all know. Like if you saw Game of Thrones where they walk her down the street and they're like, shame, shame, Stefan would be like, what? He'd probably dance a little. It would be real weird.
I would dance a little.
Yeah. So, Tyler, and let's keep this quick because who knows how long we've even been recording at this point.
No, I hate keeping it quick, Johnny. I love this part of the show.
What did you buy? And did you sell anything? And what did you play?
I bought Saw and Medieval 1 and 2, actually, very recently, on topic with the show.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. No, so, actually going for my collecting goals, I need to shore up my Sega CD set because I didn't realize how much I was missing. I know I'm not a super insert guy, but I'm missing major inserts on the Sega CD. So I went and I bought, Kids on Sight comes with a tattoo. And I know that game, you can get that new for $30, but I didn't have the tattoo in that. And then I guess the big things, I got an NBA Hang Time 95 with the poster. Thank you everyone else for not bidding against me on that because that's a game that shows up once a month maybe. And I bought a whole new copy of Popful Mail because Popful Mail comes with a strategy guide mail away insert, some stupid insert that doesn't matter. And Popful Mail, if you haven't been keeping up, it's over $500 now. And so that is actually a game that I might sell. And by might, I mean I'm going to sell my worst copy of Poppin' Mail because I just bought it to get a stupid insert.
Right, and that's why I said, is there anything you're selling? I kept you in mind there. So
Ooh,
if you guys are interested, and let's leverage the podcast, if anyone wants a Poppin' Mail, Tyler has one for sale.
No, it's probably gonna take me like a year before I get around to being
No. Poppin' Mail is
that.
for sale. If you contact Tyler when he gets his, he'll sell it to you.
If you give me $200 more than I pay and you know it's incomplete, yeah, let's do it. I actually got a pretty good price, and I found it on Game TZ. I never find anything on Game TZ.
You say that, but you found something like a month ago on Game TZ.
Oh, well, I found my Odyssey. Probably the best thing I bought all year was from Game TZ, kinda.
And that was like an episode after
Join
you
Game TZ, maybe? Is there good stuff on Game TZ?
You shit on Game TZ like a month before that, and then you found 2 good things on Game TZ.
Huh.
Apologize.
Huh.
You should
Apologize now.
The forum that like literally only I'm on and none of our listeners are on.
Yep.
And then my good friend and listener of the show, Jeremy, forgot his last name. Stefan, help me out. He's an art man.
Oh, I can never.
It's like Buzza or Huzzah,
Yes.
something like that.
Hold on, I'll look up the spelling. So
I have to give him a shout out because he's a listener.
Yep.
Oh, but Buzza, Buzz. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm pretty close. Anyway, he sold me a QVC Maximum Carnage, everything but the game, but whatever. I already have the game. Importantly, it has the little insert under the pins, which a lot of them are missing. So I'm happy I got that. I think I got it at a pretty good price. I'll just say it. I don't like keeping prices secret. $450. That's not that bad for a QVC Maximum Carnage.
If the
I'm gonna
box
go
is
Buzz
nice,
Ash,
it's
is his
a
last
good
name.
price.
Buzz Ash. Jeremy
Box.
Buzz Ash.
No, he had doubles, so I got his worst box. But it was mostly like crushing damage. So I'm currently pressing it under like a stack of heavy books, and it should be fine.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would think that's a pretty cool thing that I bought. That would be the highlight of what I was buying if Stefan didn't come out here with 16 prototypes and a nice Nintendo World Championships that he found.
Yeah.
I mean, what'd you buy, Johnny?
Well, let's see. What did I buy? I may have bought a demo of Medieval that I was talking about on this episode. But I didn't buy it on the show. That was a planned purchase, and went ahead and bought that. I did go ahead and buy Fatal Frame 2 and 3, probably the reprint editions, for those, like that $40 sum I was saying for each of them. I just went ahead and said, I don't have those yet for PS2, and I want to feature a bunch of PS2 stuff this Halloween, so went ahead and picked those up. I bought a sealed Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets 2, because it came up on my eBay feed and it was $12. So I was like, well, I'll buy that.
Are you talking about like on the show you just bought this?
No, this was like 2 weeks ago. It just hasn't come yet. Just random things I bought. So, and the reason like why people are going to be all about the Philosopher's Stone, but unless you're buying the sealed one for the PS1 or the GBA or the GBC, that's not like really the first one, because actually Chamber of Secrets came out before Philosopher's Stone, Sorcerer's Stone, on the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox. So, just so you know,
I will still say in every way the Philosopher's Stone games are more interesting.
You think so? They were made by different companies.
Like, even if they're not technically the first, the fact that the second one's the first is dumb. And they're all basically rare because they're the wrong game, right?
Yeah.
Not rare, but less common than the second one.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also like a pretty fun game, actually. It's like a weird, like Zelda not Majora's Mask, Ocarina-esque style kind of adventure game, like just the way the graphics look. Not that it's obviously not Ocarina of Time, but it's in that style. If you haven't checked it out, it's actually a pretty fun game. I wish they would remaster that game, because I wish they would just remaster like the first 3 and make them look nice, because if you try to play them on like a new TV, even though you can, get them to run in like your PS3 or your Xbox, it looks so bad. It looks the worst. Just like, bleh, barf. So gross. Anyways, that was a random thing that came up. So I was like, yeah, I'll buy that. That's cool. because I'm always just buying random Harry Potter stuff. And I bought a copy of Fear 2 for the PS3. Now I can start saying like random Halloween games I bought. The reason I bought that is because it had a slipcase on it. So I think that's the first print came with a little slipcase for the PS3. So I bought that. And you want to know my big purchase? My most expensive thing I bought? Are you guys ready?
I do.
Oh, whew, thank goodness. Winter Blast, Summer Blast 2-pack, the double pack, the 2-for-1, rare Wii game, garbage, total trash. It's one of these
Johnny,
games.
you said you bought this on the last show.
Did I say it?
Johnny, I know because I edited that show today.
Okay. Well, I already said it. All right. That game came.
And then I commented, wow, that will probably be rare, or one of those that you bought will probably be rare, because there's always some rare multi-pack.
Yeah, it's the worst. Anyways.
Maybe it might even be worth $6,000, Johnny.
Nope. Let's hope
Super
it never
Monkey
is.
Ball, player's choice is the joke there.
Yeah.
Because we got to explain jokes because someone didn't get it.
And BT Dubs, guys, there's a Switch double pack coming out, Target only. I think it's Mario Party and Mario Kart. Going to be an exclusive Target double pack. Don't miss that. You don't want to spend $6,000 on this thing in 35 years. Just saying.
Nintendo first party.
Whoop. Anyways, that's what I bought.
Great.
I didn't play anything because life. Stefan.
Uh-huh.
Go
What
ahead.
are you playing?
No. Tell us the other things you bought. Like Tyler, it gets more embarrassing. It's not even over.
Okay, so in part of that same lot, I got a few jackets that I was missing, and some like internal employee stuff. One thing that I did also get was a gray counselor jacket. So I'm actually gonna be helping the party that I acquired it from to rehome that jacket. So it may be available when you listen to this podcast. So hit me up if you're looking for that gray counselor Metro jacket, which is very, very desirable. And all those proceeds are just going to go to the original owner. What else did I do? So this weekend, actually, I am headed up to the Seattle area to pick up some Nintendo Power covers. So I actually located 7 more covers. So that will be added to the
7?
Yep. So that will be added to the
lots, right?
Yeah, generally, because when you find an artist, you typically, or at least I've been in the position where I've been able to kind of just whatever they had that they worked on for Nintendo Power, I pick all of it up. So essentially his entire body of work for the magazine is what I'm going up to pick up. I mentioned the Magical Quest cover, but also the Secret of Mana cover, the Pugsley's Adventure. Was that what it's called?
Yeah, you can post it for Halloween.
Yeah, so I got that one where it's just Pugsley like snapping his fingers or whatever. I got the I'll be picking up the Ninja Gaiden cover, which is amazing. The Tetris cover, which I haven't talked about yet. So that's going to be awesome.
I love the Ninja Gaiden cover because when you first started collecting Nintendo Power covers, I specifically mentioned, like, even Stefan, if you ever find the Ninja Gaiden cover without the stupid ninja guy in front of it, that would still be super cool. And there you go.
And that's what it is. Like, that cover is vastly improved by that ninja not being there.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it fits on my scanner because if people listeners know that I have a very high quality scanner now, and so what I'd love to do is to be able to scan it at a high enough resolution that for future conventions I can use it as like a photo op.
That would be awesome.
I want to blow it up to a background size so you can like take your fucking stupid ninja pose picture in front of this backdrop. I thought it'd be super cool.
You should have it with like ninjas. Like you should have some props, some ninja stars, wakizashi, a katana.
Yep, for sure. Yeah. So
that is a fantastic idea, Stefan.
I got a bunch of art things happening, which I'm really, really excited about. And yeah, that's what happened.
Some good stuff.
It's been a crazy couple weeks.
It's an embarrassment of riches. You're the worst. I think you're the worst. Get out of here.
Stefan, am I incorrect in saying let's say after this pickup, you'll have like maybe most of the drawn Nintendo Power covers. Like, how many more are there?
I know of 6 in private hands right now. But I will have, if you consider the clay covers as covers, right? So like my Wily maquette, if you say like, okay, that's the quote unquote cover for the for that issue. I have around 26 covers, which is a ridiculous thing to say. And it's
a very ridiculous thing to say.
Yeah.
So, hey, off the top, how many claymation covers were there?
Like 9, and I have so I think there was 9 clay covers, and I have 6 of them.
And one of them's gone.
How
right?
did that even exist? Stefan, that's just wrong. Stop it.
The mansion is gone. The Metal Gear robot is gone. The so I guess there's a couple more, because there were 2 Mega Man ones, right? I have the Mega Man 2, and then there was a second one. It was a different Wily ship. So that's gone. The DuckTales computer is gone.
What about Blue Clay Mario?
And Blue Clay Mario was not made of. He was made out of model like oil clay, not polymer clay. So he just collapsed under his own weight shortly after he was photographed.
Oh no!
Yeah, because it basically, so they had the artist who did the first issue, that cover, worked for Will Vinton Studios, and if anybody who knows anything about Will Vinton Studios, he basically did all of the popular stop motion product throughout the 80s and 90s. So because that artist was from that studio, they used the medium that they had, which was this oil clay that is made for stop motion, so you can continually move it. But that doesn't stand the test of time because it never dries, because it's not supposed to. So the first cover collapsed under its own weight shortly after being photographed. As Johnny mentioned, the mansion is gone. The Dr. Mario is presumed destroyed as well. And then if you could also count the very, very last cover, I actually know where it is, but it's not currently available.
Ooh, I can't wait to see that one.
Yeah. Cool. I'm working on it.
So you have most of the existing ones.
Yes.
Which is a dumb thing to say. Now, I
think I have all of the existing clay ones.
So here's what I need you to find for me. Okay. And I need you, it's fine. It can go live in the museum, but it needs to be for me. I need you to go find the Castlevania Dracula's head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's a popular one that people are like, oh yeah, well, do you have Dracula's head? And I'm like, no. And they're like, whatever then.
Well, I would also accept the helmet or like the weird like armor that guy is wearing, his red sash.
Sure
any piece of that.
That stuff looks off the rack. Like I'm pretty sure that was just like costumey. Same thing with like the ninja costume. I'm pretty sure it was just like Halloween store costuming. You could probably find that off the rack.
Stefan, find it, because you know what? There's the BFG in Doom is actually based off a real toy gun from the early 90s. And like that toy gun is collectible because you could literally see the BFG was actually that gun, and then they mirrored it to make the other half. And that it's not like super expensive, but it's collectible. So you should find Dracula's head and start selling them.
Well, I think the head is probably not off the rack, but I know that the armor that
it looks a little nicer than off the rack. So it may have been like whoever they may have just hired out like a costume shop in the local area.
Yeah.
You know, because they have those where you can buy like a little higher degree costume. But
like a rental tier.
Yeah, so we should find that armor, right? And then for Collector's Quest, we should have that as like your second photo op, where we'll get someone to sculpt a Dracula's head or just buy one. And then
it should be Johnny's head.
You could I think it'd be funnier if like we did all 3 of our heads that you could pick, and then like a clay version of it that was like colored that bluish green, and then you could take a picture of that armor in front of like that red like curtain backdrop. We can recreate that fairly easily.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Yep. Whenever we go to conventions again, whenever that exists. Anyways, is that all you got? Is there any other one of a kind, rare prototypes, 101s, legacy pieces you need to talk about on this episode?
I just bought an Illusion of Gaia prototype tonight, actually.
Oh, okay.
If we're talking about
you
it.
asked us if you should buy it, and it wasn't like an outlandish price in this world of outlandish prices. And you're
especially
like,
for
buy
like
this?
one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, should you buy this thing that is one of your favorite games? Yeah, dummy,
Yes.
go get it.
So I did.
Yeah, good job. Okay, guys, that is our Halloween episode. We got through it. Everyone, thank you so much for listening and following along with the podcast as we move along here and participating in our Halloween episode. I am going to be doing the Halloween tag again, so it's going to be Halloween Gaming 2020, the scariest year there ever was. That's not going to be part of the tag, but that's going to be there. And then I've got it depends how much time and energy I really have, because I've got like a secondary Instagram name I was going to do for some spooky kids books, because some people did ask me about that, like all these weird kids books I buy for my son, some which are age appropriate, some which are not. So I was going to do I didn't want to tear up my thread with that. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know and I'll start getting those out too. And then there may be some other stuff. There's a lot of room for Halloween stuff this year, and I can't wait to see what you guys are doing. Hopefully the guys will participate more this year. Stefan's got a few cool pieces he could definitely put out, like some art pieces that he can show off, which would be pretty sweet for a Halloween tag. So hopefully you guys will do that. And maybe one of you just bought Medieval 1 and 2, which you could, post in October, Tyler. So, and maybe Saw. So, it's not like you didn't just buy some stuff that you could participate with. So make sure you guys use the tag Halloween Gaming 2020. Thanks a ton. And Tyler, where can we find you?
Instagram, Video Game Sage, YouTube. That's probably really it.
Hey,
I'm Default Gen, Default GEN.
Yeah, make sure you check out all the Retro Gem Miner stuff. It's pretty glorious. And then, give it a listen. Tell your mom about it.
Yeah.
Stefan?
Instagram and YouTube and Video Game Sage as Archon1981, ARCHON 1981. More readily active on Twitter as Art of NP. It's Art of Nintendo Power, or legit, you can just search for the Nintendo Power and you'll find me.
If you search for Art of NP Twitter, it comes up with an investment Twitter thing. And I'm like, what? Is Stefan investing in shit? It's like, oh, this isn't him.
Huh.
But if
so you're better off
Google results
searching
are
for,
different for everyone, because Google knows everything about us. So maybe it just knows that I'm way into investing.
That you're an investor? Probably.
Yeah, I'm a huge investor.
Anyways, you can find me pretty much on this podcast, and I haven't even posted much on the old IG, but that'll be changing because Halloween is here, and I gotta make sure I get up 31 posts. Gotta do it.
Good luck.
I
mean, you don't need luck, because I know you're gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rough year and time is short, but I'm gonna try to make sure I get that. I love this time of year. And if you look, the thing is, if you use that tag too, I follow that tag. So then I usually go through each night and see who posted what, cool stuff. And, you guys expose me sometimes to games I haven't heard of. So the more obscure, weird stuff you have, the cooler that is for me. Look, I'm looking at Amstrad stuff right now and Commodore stuff and, weird Apple IIc. I'm game for anything that you're showing me right now. So don't be shy. Let's see that weird Halloween stuff. And if it doesn't outwardly look Halloween, like say a Super Mario, or it's got a moment in there, tell me why it is. Tell everyone else too, because people love Halloween and they want to know. Anyways, that's it for the show. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.
Johnny, you keep saying Amstrad, isn't it Amstrad?
Amstrad. I'm thinking of the movie. I'm just conflating the two.
I keep hearing Amish Drive.
Amish Drive?
I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Yep.
So Amstrad. Yeah, it's Amstrad. Just put a note in the show that Johnny is just confusing
No one
words.
even knows what that is or cares.
They're going to be like,
don't worry about
Amstrad,
it.
that's a movie I saw once.
I don't even have that console.
That movie made me feel some things. Now, there's a bunch of older dudes who are going to know. They're going to be like, did he say Amstrad and ZX Spectrum? God, this guy's an idiot.